just want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this forum, where we'll be discussing a number of issues that affect agriculture in the county of Kilifi and surrounding counties. As a program, we have a vision to ensure that young women, youth, and all other stakeholders work together to ensure that all the counties where we are operating in make agriculture cool and agriculture successful. So the reason we called you here, we also have an idea there could be a few challenges. Because there's one thing about you producing at the farm or having a small factory, but once you've produced that produce need to move to the next level, either move to the market, and you'll find that there could be some impediments, whether there are taxes, regulations. Maybe just if I use as a case, it may be very hypothetical. You may be packaging madafu, for example, and since madafu is very perishable, you decide maybe the best way for me to do is hawk it around in Kilifi town. And once you are doing that, the county official will come and arrest you because you are doing illegal trade of hawking. But you see, you're also trying to create value addition, creating jobs, but there's that impediment that you are actually hawking. So those are some of the issues that we want to discuss today and see how do we make the business environment for agriculture very enabling to ensure that all of us can work together, can move together to create employment, to create income for the people, ensure there's more productivity, and ensure that also we meet our objective as a county for growing forward. So that's what we are here to discuss today. I don't want to take much time. So I'll also give you a small presentation just to tell you what is KCIC and what we are doing. Then I'll invite my colleague Damaris, who is based here in Kilifi, to also tell us something about what we are doing in Kilifi. So just for a start, as KCIC, we started way off in 2012, and we were a program of the World Bank. So by then, we were just a program. There were consortium partners who were 5, who then came in and started that. So there was Price Waterhouse, there was Kirdi. We also had GVEP now, who have changed to Energy for Impact, Price Waterhouse, and Strathmore University, where we are based. So those ones were the ones who were given the initial grant to try and pilot this particular project and see whether it could be successful. And the whole idea came out of one of the COP meetings where they were discussing about climate change, and there was a suggestion to see how can we use climate technology to combat issues around climate change. So the World Bank did a proposal, went to a number of donors, and 2 actually came through. By that time, it was UK Aid and Danida, and they were very specific. You go and pilot this thing, but it has to be done in Kenya. So KCIC was actually the first climate innovation center to be set up. Currently, there are others, like in Africa, we have one in Ethiopia, South Africa, Nigeria, Morocco, and others. So that's how we were. And our mission and vision is, as you can see, to be a one-stop shop, supporting innovative climate change solution and sustainable development. And that's where agriculture actually falls, because we want to see sustainable development in Kenya and in all counties that we operate in. And our mission is to provide those support services, including business support, providing finances. I'm sure some of the enterprises here have been financed. We also want to create awareness for people to know that there is such a program. There's also climate financing, so that as many people as possible can benefit from this, so that we can deliver innovative climate change solutions. So in January 2015, we got registered as a company limited by guarantee. So currently we are a company now limited by guarantee. And we have a board of 9 members that oversee our operations. We have 5 key services that we provide. And some of our clients here have actually seen those services and received them. So advisory, which is actually the biggest component in our services. And that's where we do capacity building, looking at things like technical training, business training, and other aspects. We also provide some financing, and we have around 4 windows of financing. One is a grant. So a grant is money we give you to do a proof of concept. And if you come to us and you have a good idea and we think you can develop it further from a prototype and take it to market, then we'll give you a grant to do that and pilot. Once that is proven in the market that is a successful product, then we can give you follow-on financing depending on your business operation. So we could either give you an early stage financing, which is like working capital, but we could also give you result-based financing for most of the agribusiness clients. And that is mainly to finance capital assets for your operation. Once you move to another level, we have a sister company called Kenya Climate Ventures, and that will give you growth capital. So we also provide information, and our information centers around markets, it centers around information, and it centers around also technology. Then we have facilities, like now the hub that we are setting up at Mtwapa ATC, where you can have space to work from. If you need networking, you can go to that hub. If you want to meet other people, you can also still use that particular hub. But then also we are building partners with other people. Like if you need maybe testing facility for your crop, then we've engaged like Caldro, you can use some of their facility. If you need any other further testing, you can use Kirdi. So we have a number of partners that we work with on that. Then lastly, it's on enabling environment, and whatever this meeting that we have today falls under that particular docket, where we are looking at issues around policy, how do we make policy enabling for business. Then we also look around research. So if there's any research that we need to do, we do it under an enabling environment. So these are just some of our donors that we've worked with: the Danish government, World Bank, Autodesk, UK Aid, Lemerson Foundation, and European Union that has funded this particular meeting that we are on here. So in terms of areas that we focus on, other than agriculture, which agribusiness falls under, we also support renewable energy clients. We support people who are doing some innovation in water, waste management, and commercial forestry. So moving to agriculture, our key aim is actually to create decent jobs for women in various agricultural value chains in Kenya. So that's the whole mission of that product. And we launched this program just before COVID came in on the 6th of May 2020. And well, immediately we launched, actually the country was locked, but we were very innovative enough and decided that instead of us waiting and mourning that there was COVID, we did a call for the national cohort. So we supported close to 200 enterprises nationally in the year 2020. But thereafter, when the containment measures were eased, that's how now we moved to the counties. Key services that we are currently providing is on training on business, financing, market linkages, access to facility, and also policy. And one of the key things that we want to address are what are these challenges that youth and women face, particularly when it comes to agriculture. And also, at the end of it, we want to see successful enterprises for women, and also open up more hubs like what we've opened up in Kilifi. So these are just some of the highlights. I will not belabor on them. So far now we have more than, those numbers have actually really grown, so I would not go into those details. This is just part of our distribution, how we are doing in terms of our portfolio. You can see actually women are taking the largest share, around 59%, and the male the youth are around 40. But because this program was mainly targeted to youth and women, that's why you see these graphs looking like that. So if you look at the enterprises that we are supporting, you'll see we have early stage who are around 20%. We have CBOs who are around 31%, and SMEs who take the lion's share at around 40%. So for you to be in this program, you must fall within any of those. You must be either an early stage company, you must be an SME, or you should be a community-based organization or a cooperative. So if you're within those, then you can apply to the program. Currently, we have a call for application that is open, and if you know any enterprise that fall within that particular category, you can encourage them actually either to go to Mtwapa and pick a form, or go to our website and apply. So in terms of what we want to achieve with this particular program in the next 5 years, we want to see whether we can create a number of jobs, and we are looking at about 20,000. So far we are around 2,000. We want to see more resources mobilized, and see how many of those enterprises actually success. So in terms of the businesses we want to develop, they are around 2,400, and then we look to create about 20,000 jobs. So these are just some of the things that we've achieved to date. Over 25,000 applications. We have more clients about 30 who've supported with research, about 125 who've been funded. But we're doing more. As more people apply, we see how we can work on that. We are currently supporting 3 counties, Machakos, Meru, and Bungoma, to see how they can amend and improve on their various policies. So next year, actually, we'll be in Kilifi, and I can see the Director for Agriculture is here. We can have a discussion on some of the policy areas that we can support you on. Other than just the agribiz, we also have another program called GreenBiz. And this one has a bigger focus. It's just not agriculture, but it must have a bit of innovation in it. So, and this now doesn't just focus specifically on agriculture, but it looks across all the 5 thematic areas that I mentioned. So we'd want to see about 150 enterprises supported, create over 3,000 jobs, and over 20 million mobilized for that. So the essence there is just to increase commercialization of innovation ideas. So this is what this particular program is all about. We'll also be opening the call, I think, towards mid-December, and we'll reach out to you to just also ask you to apply. So in essence, that is KCIC and what we do. Then I'll invite my colleague Damaris to tell us now specifically what the program is doing in Kilifi. Thank you.
Thank you, Ernest, for that. I'll take you through some of the program highlights in relation to the Kilifi Business Incubation Hub. Before I do that, I think it's good to take a nice, healthy break, right? So just a bit of an exercise. Rub your chin. Rub your chin. Rub your chin. Rub your chin. So those of you who are rubbing your cheek, I'm saying rubbing your chin. Yeah? So let's return our concentration back to the program, right? Yeah. So far, we have opened 8 business incubation hubs, as has been mentioned by Ernest. And one of those hubs is in Kilifi County at Mtwapa, ATC. So before then, as Ernest had mentioned, we had a national call for application. So this one was done in Nairobi. And when we did that, it was immediately after our launch on 6th of March, 2020. We onboarded approximately 200. Because of some reasons, we had some of them not continuing with the support, so we had around 193. But out of that, we had 5 coming from the coastal region. So 5 were from, basically would have been supported by the Kilifi Business Incubation Hub. The reason for that low number is, of course, we hadn't come to the county to be able to sensitize more on the program, but we have grown as we'll continue with the program highlights. So with the 5 clients, we had been giving them support under the program, and since access to finance is one of the support areas that we give our clients in our portfolio, we had 3 out of the 5 of them receiving that support. 2 received RBF financing, which is the result-based funding, and it is a loan type of funding. It has a term of 3 years repayment with 6 months moratorium and 6% interest payment per annum. So of the 2, one of them received RBF of 1.6 million Kenya shillings, the other one received 1.5 million Kenya shillings. Both of them are in dairy. One of them are producing yogurt, one of them in Kwale County, the other one is in Kilifi County. Then we had one client also receive POC funding of 1 million Kenya shillings, and hash is in moringa, value addition of moringa, milling it into flour. And the client is in Kilifi County. Yes, so that's where we are. Other types of support services which we've given those clients are, as mentioned, company registration. Some of them come into the program without having registered as business names. You just find somebody who's named Jen Doe, for example, and applying for the program. They have an innovative business, but they've not yet registered. So we do support them to be able to register. Some of them started to register as business names, so they acquired a business name registration certificate. And then KCIC also was able to give them some funding to be able to register as companies. There's product testing support, which we also provided the clients, branding. They are able to come up with product labels for the various products that they are making, website development, amongst other technical assistance support areas. So then we were able to sign an MOU with Kilifi County on the 10th of March, 2021. And with the MOU, we were able to start set up in Kilifi at the Mtwapa ATC, where renovation of our hub is currently ongoing. If you've been there, especially for our sensitization and awareness forum, you have been able to see the office which we'll have. It is anticipated to be completed by 21st of November this year, and we'll be anticipating to also have a launch and invite you to come and grace that launch. In addition to having the hub at the Mtwapa ATC, we were able to roll out a call for application in March, and we were able to receive 3,043 applications. Out of the 3,043 applications, we took 100 clients and onboarded them into the program. One client was from Vijana na Agribiz, which is an annual competition we have for youth who have very innovative ideas in agriculture. They are taken through a boot camp where they're able to develop pitches for their business ideas. And then there's a panelist, which is involved in vetting the various pitches, and the top 3 who are selected get to join the program. So one of the top 3 was from Kilifi County, and therefore the applicant was able to join the agribusiness program. So currently, out of that, we have 101, but we are currently actively incubating 98 of them. Unfortunately, 3 of them moved their business operations from Kilifi, and as you can see, the Kilifi hub supports the 6 counties in the coastal region, and they had moved their business operations from there. Mombasa, Kilifi, Taita Taveta, Kwale, Lamu, and Tana River counties. So for those clients who we have currently out of the 98, you can see the breakdown of their counties. We have 78 in Kilifi, 5 in Kwale, 1 in Lamu, 8 in Mombasa, 5 in Taita Taveta, and 1 in Tana River counties. And it is our hope that we are able to also be able to grow our portfolio in the rest of the counties, even as we maintain, even as we keep on increasing the portfolio that we have in Kilifi County. So the team also went to the other county governments, the 5, to also conduct a courtesy call and be able to inform the CECs of agriculture, livestock and fisheries, about the agribusiness program and our current open call for applications. The demographics of the various types of businesses we are supporting currently under the hub, we have 23 of them who are in the early stage phase. We have 42 of them SMEs, and we have 33 CBOs, self-help groups, and cooperatives. 17 of them have already been approved for RBF and POC funding, and they are yet to receive the funding starting off this month, with others being again recommended for financing to the board starting January of next year. And some of the other support areas we provided, which include technical assistance, are again, as mentioned, for the other portfolio. We have company registration, we have product development, product testing, product certification with KEBS, website development, and branding. All of these clients have been taken to the board, to the KCIC board, for approval to receive the support from KCIC. It is a one-year incubation program, and we are expecting that they will be able to receive that support also starting off next year. So those are the program highlights we have so far in Kilifi Hub. Lastly, we have the open call for applications, which has been able to get a total of 276 so far. The application was opened on 12th of October, and it will be closed on 12th of November, this week on Friday. And we have 376, as mentioned, applications so far. We have online applications, physical forms, which are picked at Mtwapa ATC, and some applicants even download the form and then send it to our various emails, be it the agribiz email or the KCIC email. So since we have not yet even hit the 500 mark, our appeal would still be, and we've not yet been able to get all the forms that we sent out to the various county governments, is that we are able to get them so that evaluation continues. So evaluations are always done on a rolling basis. And Vincent, I think it is now time for the health break, because I'm already done with the Kilifi Hub program highlights.
Just to also thank Damaris for those highlights. And then we are actually going for the health break, just to give our bodies a little bit of energy. And then when we come back, I believe the directors will have something little to tell us before we go into the dialogue forum. I know the message that Waziri would have had, both Waziris from trade and from agriculture, whatever they would have had to tell us, I know you carry that message, so you'll also get a chance to also highlight. And in line with also what we are doing, also it gives you an opportunity as a county to also highlight what you are doing with regard to the kind of support that we are giving the SMEs in agribusiness.
Good morning. My name is Gideon Wambua, County Director, Livestock Production. It was the chief of CEC who was supposed to say something on the opening, and I will represent her. Apology from the chief officer, Mr. Machiti Makai, who is the current chief officer in fisheries, and also the accounting officer of the Department of Agriculture, Livestock Development and Fisheries. They are engaged in other activities, so I will represent them. But first of all, let me thank the Kenya Climate Innovation Center who have chosen Kilifi as one of the counties. And more than just choosing, they have constructed, or they are renovating a building at ATC Mtwapa as the hub for the climate innovation center. That's a good idea, especially for the people of Kilifi, because that is our home. The purpose for this institution is to help youth and the women. It's emphasizing on youth and the women so that they can be empowered economically, and mainly on agriculture, livestock, fisheries, and small other businesses. That is SMEs, small micro enterprises. And the purpose is to enable the youth and the women to grow economically. Mainly activities related to agriculture and livestock and fisheries as well. There are also other which are not directly related to agriculture, but they are in the value chain. Like transport, I think they will confirm to me whether you are also supporting the ones which are involved in transporting agriculture-related products, like like transport. We also have processors, and I think those who involved in value addition is part of the processors. Access to market, I have found it as a big challenge to our farmers. The milk producing farmers, when they have excess, the cooling centers may not have access to the market. Therefore, if this initiative can support those involved in milk aggregation to find a stable market, it will encourage production, and at the end, more money will come to the producers and also processors. And finally, there will be development economically. Our farmers and the youth, as you have noted, they have no reliable access to credit, and as you have said, you have that window to help them get access to the credit facility, financing, and if they have some proposals, because it's not for free, somebody has to create interest and show how they are going to pay. I think you will support them, and this will benefit us all in Kilifi. we also have a need for information. We are told information is power. And that is why we spend a lot of money taking our children to school. And those who use it, the investment well, they benefit. So the hub will enable those who are involved access information. I'm told the hub of internet services, and there are staff who are employed there to assist and give support to those who require any kind of support to get information related to marketing, production, processing, and also business related, so that they can build their capacity. The activities which are being supported by this program are many, and it's those who are targeted to take advantage. It is not all the time that we get somebody ready to support us. So those farmers and groups who are qualified to apply, encourage them to apply. This includes agriculture, livestock production, especially on milk production, fisheries, value addition, and other related activities, and the trade, small businesses. Please, those who know some, the youth and the women, I'm told they are supporting women up to, they have not put a limit to the age of women, but the youth have taken it up to 35. I stand to be corrected. Is that true? Yes. Yeah, so for ladies, if you have ladies who are entrepreneurs in agriculture and agriculture-related businesses, tell them to apply. The closing date, I'm told it was extended somehow. It was to be on 2nd. It has been extended to 12th. That is Friday. Yeah. So let them take advantage. Money is difficult to get. I was talking to my sister here, Marietta. She has been coming to my office to solicit for some support since 2013. And I'm told she somehow managed to get support from, is it this project? Agribusiness. It's from Agribusiness. Yeah, so let those who are of interest in the business take advantage. So with those few remarks, let me thank the Climate Change Initiative Center for the support that they are giving Kilifi County, and let us who have benefited or who are likely to benefit use the resources that we are getting in a good manner. I was in Northeastern, Mandera, Wajir, and there is this there was some money which was meant for youth. Some youth got the money. And you know their lifestyle is, you find them here today, tomorrow when you go, they have shifted. So it is difficult to trace them. So they got the money, and those people who got, those boys, the youth, they shared the money and they disappeared. So when we get the money, let us use this prudently for sustainability of whatever we are doing, because we want whatever we start to continue, because we are creating jobs, and the jobs are supposed to be sustainable. Ianza mwaka huu, 20 years to come, we find the project is still there and is supporting many more farmers or more youth, because the objective of this one is to create decent jobs. Otherwise, with those few remarks, I wish to stop. Thank you very much.
To our organizers, that is Kenya Climate Innovation Center, Agribiz, the county officials who are here, representatives of other agencies, the investors who are here, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon again. My name's Joseph Kazungu Katana, and I am the Assistant Director, Trade, and I'm here on behalf of our Waziri, Nahida Mohammed, who could not join us today. It is a great pleasure, actually, to be here. From what I've seen in the presentation that was done earlier, Agribiz is doing a good job. Agribiz is doing a good job, and as a department, the trade department in Kilifi County, we just want to tell you that you have our full support. When I was looking at the clip, there's a gentleman who was talking about, could the county provide some support? Well, there are several areas that the county can actually give support. And this is based on the trades department 3 key objectives. And these objectives are, number 1, to improve the business environment for trade and investment. All right? And I believe that is why we are here. Here is Agribiz. They have given funds to a youth group. What comes next is the environment, the business environment conducive. Because if the business environment is not conducive, then what happens next? You find that the business does not grow, right? So as a trade department, this is one of the things that we are looking at. This is one of the contributions. This is one of the objectives that we are keen on, and that is why it is our objective number 1. And we'll be doing this by looking at the policies. Are the policies that are there currently supporting these youth groups? Are the policies that are there currently supporting these women's groups and the businesses that they are setting up? If they are not, then what can we do about it? So that is our objective number 1. Objective number 2 is promoting micro, small, and medium enterprises. And we normally do this in conjunction with the 3rd objective, which is public-private partnerships, right? Public-private partnerships. So the Department of Trade looks at some of these opportunities, because as a county, we know that we can't do everything. But we try as much as possible to look for the partners that we can work together with. Now, as a county also, and especially under the trade department, we have what we call the Mbegu Fund. Now, the Mbegu Fund is almost similar to what we are talking about today. And our mission is Maisha Bora kwa Wakilifi. Maisha Bora kwa Wakilifi. Now, Mbegu Fund basically does this by offering loans at a very low interest rate. And I must say that we've also supported quite a number of groups, 800 women, 500 youth groups, and 560 agribusinesses. Right? Now, what I'm trying to say is that there is still a lot to be done outside there. There are still a lot of youth groups that need help outside there. So, with this kind of partnership, I believe we can go a long, long way in achieving some of our objectives of the Vision 2030. The Mbegu Fund so far has given out around 216 million Kenya shillings, right? So, without further ado, I think I will give one of my colleagues, that is Mr. David Jeffwa, to come and briefly take us through what the Mbegu Fund is. And I felt that this is important, so that the people who are here, what you can do, whatever ideas that you can get here, please go tell your friends. And again, as a trade department, Kilifi County, you have all our support. And I believe by the end of the day, when we are talking about the challenges, in fact, I'm very, very keen when it comes to the challenges, because those will be now the department's work plan. Whatever challenges that are there right now will constitute the department's work plans. So, with those few remarks, I would like to welcome my colleague, David Jeffwa, to take us through briefly what the Mbegu Fund is. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Yeah, thank you, Director. Habari zenu? Salama, naitwa David Jeffwa kutoka Mbegu Fund, a section within the Department of Trade, Tourism and Cooperative Development. Happy to be here. Maybe just a brief of Mbegu Fund, where we are, who we are, and where we are, and something in line with why we are here. So, Mbegu Fund in full is Kilifi County Microfinance Fund. We are an initiative of the county government of Kilifi. It's not projecting? Yes, thank you. So we are an initiative of the county government of Kilifi. The department operationalized through the Department of Trade, Tourism and Cooperative Development, and we work under the section of Trade Development. We are formed by an act of parliament, not really, an act of the county assembly, and we started operations in August 2018. So we are a couple of years old. Mbegu Fund offers support to our target people are basically sole proprietors, groups, cooperatives, and even partnerships, those in the micro and small enterprise categories. So that's where we basically zero down to. Our mandate is provision of credit to micro and small enterprises and cooperatives. That's our first mandate. And then we have a mandate in terms of supporting linkages of SMEs to large enterprises, support them in having linkages. We also facilitate marketing and products of services for the micro and social enterprises. We've had quite a number of groups in the areas of CAPE certification and such kind of areas. And then we also provide business development services to these MSCs. One thing about the fund, or the uniqueness of the fund, we normally don't charge an interest. What we charge is management fee. There's a difference between management fee and interest. Our management fee charge is 4% for loans of 100,000, and then 6% for loans above 100,000. So that means 101,000 to 500,000, we take an upfront management fee deduction of 4% or 6%. It's not collateral because it doesn't depend on the time in which you are going to repay your loan. Whether you repay this loan within a year or 2 years, it still stands at the same percentage. We don't ask for collaterals for loans of up to 500,000. And then we also fund startups, quite a risky venture to get into, but we do that because we are here to support them. We have a loan repayment period of up to 24 months. Maybe briefly, our statistics in terms of lending, where we are as of now as a fund. As at September, that is last month, we had issued more than 255 million Kenyan shillings to groups and cooperatives, to around 1,750 groups and to 21 cooperatives. As we are starting right now, we have around 580 groups whose loans have been approved. We'll just be disbursing to them money right now at a tune of around 70 million. So it will add up to the numbers that I've spoken here. In terms of the agricultural sector, we funded 30% of our funding has gone to the agricultural sector, around 76.6 million. That's around 556 groups, around 32% of our beneficiaries, or we are together now, are basically in the agricultural sector. The learning process, maybe I'll rush through that. Normally, the potential beneficiary, or basically loanee or client, takes a loan from any of our channels. It could be the sub-county administrator's office, the trade department office, or even through the county website. You take a loan application from there, you fill it, and then you submit it to the trade development officers. They receive it, and then it's submitted to the sub-county committees, which is chaired by the sub-county administrator, and who recommends the loans to the board for approval. Upon approval, the loans are disbursed. We have limits for the loans that we offer. For groups, the limits are 100 to 500,000. For cooperatives, their limits are a little bit higher. That is 500, half a million to 3 million. And for company loans, personal loans, which we are basically supposed to be rolling out before the end of this year, hopefully, we offer a tune of 100 to 1 million, 100,000 to 1 million. Some of the loan products we have here, working capital. This is where we basically finance you we finance your cash flow, working capital. And then we also have asset financing. This is where we have automobiles and other agricultural equipments, or even other kind of business equipments where we finance. We also have LPO financing. LPO financing, as for now, we've stuck specifically for county LPOs because it's at the initial stages. Group loans, the requirements are simple, as you can see. You must be registered. You must resolve to borrow from us. Come up with a budget. Just draft a budget. You must have your bank account details and ID copy of the members. That's simple. For cooperatives, what we need basically is audited accounts and plus your borrowing powers, and then plus the proposal which you have. I think I've seen a cooperative here. This is what you need to access money from us. In terms of the funded sector, we've done agribusiness. We funded agribusiness, trade, all these sectors, manufacturing and value addition, fisheries, transport, and other service sectors. We have quite a number of groups which I've seen we funded here. We have Kibao, that is Kibaoni, Kibao Kiche. We gave them a loan of 100,000. They repaid within 6 months. We gave them 250. They repaid within 18 months. They're asking for 100 or 500, for a loan of 500,000. We could be giving them somewhere almost there, but not there yet. So we also have, that should be Shibe Delta. We've given them around 450,000 to support them in what they do. I think we have Takangu Boda Boda, tumepatia ngapi boss? 470. So we have quite a number of the groups that we funded who are here, and they are doing well, extremely well. Hua Imbegu Fund, we fund startups. As I've said, startups are a risky area to invest your money in. You are not most probably assured of the returns. They say, I think Damaris will maybe either agree or disagree, like 75% or even up to 80% of all the startups do not see their 7th month. That's what they say. so it's a risk area to venture in. No collateral for loans of up to 500,000, no interest charged. As I've said, we charge management fee, which is 4 to 6%, a one-off, no matter the time period you'll use to repay the loan, and then simple application procedures. Our suitability to the agricultural sector, we have a grace period of up to 6 months. Although down here, we are soon launching the Mavuno loan product, which has a grace period of up to 6 months. I think that's where it fits most to the agricultural sector. Flexible repayment duration, 3 to 24 months. It's upon you to choose. We finance all stages of the value chain. Maybe to speak something about the Mavuno loan product, it has 6 months grace period, one-off payment when sale of harvest is done. We give you the money, you invest in agricultural stuff, whatever project, and then once you harvest, you pay us the entire amount. 10% owner contribution of the approved budget. We must see your investment equally there. And then a maximum loan amount of up to 500,000. So just a few photos to show what we do, some of the sectors that we fund, and they're all doing well. Thank you. In case you want to contact us, we are the Department of Trade next to, basically opposite water offices, next to Laguna, that's where we are, and those are our contacts. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you for that insightful presentation. I'm told we have a direct agenda. Yes, maybe you can have a word, a minute or two to give us a word.
Our conveners and the organizers of the forum today, colleagues from various departments in the county government, all participants, good afternoon. I rather don't know whether it's afternoon. It's afternoon? Thank you. My name is Mwangome Shuma, the Director for Gender and Youth Affairs in the County Government of Kilifi. I am delighted to be in this forum today. I think the purpose for this particular gathering today is to share information regarding to empowerment of young people, women, and all sectors of population towards economic well-being and actually as interventions towards social as well as economic issues within our communities. I want to really appreciate the fact that we have representation from various youth groups and from various women groups. And indeed, what we need is information sharing as a way of empowerment, as a way of facilitating and accelerating action towards sustainable development. I want to really thank you all for having found time to be here. I'm sorry I had to join you at a later point because I was in other critical meetings, administrative meetings in the office, and I had to join you at such a point. I know that we have very many active youth groups out there. We have very many active women groups, and these are the critical masses that, in fact, if we were targeting a kind of empowerment programs, this should be our focus, that young women generally, and young people should be given opportunities and the priorities in any development agenda in their communities. Why is this the case? Because one, both women and youth are the majority. So remove them from the economic equation and you have a dwindled economy. So I believe for those organizers of such forums, we are very targetful to know that when we empower young people and we give them that opportunity to grow economically, socially, and in all spheres of life, then we are actually improving quality of life for everyone. And more so when this is targeted to women. So for me, as a from where I sit, Department of Gender, Culture, Social Services, we are actually a coordinating unit. So many people, both women and young people, come to our offices demanding for services, demanding for economic empowerment programs. For us, we do not necessarily have the infrastructure, or rather the structures, or rather the financial capacities, but we coordinate this program such as that when they come, we are able to direct them to Mbegu Fund. I've called Mbegu Fund like every day because very many young people come, and that is home for them. I cannot chase them away. They say, what programs do you have for us? And I consult my colleagues in the Department of Trade, and we've been doing facilitating and tracking some of these opportunities for young people. I am glad to report that every time I have called Mbegu Fund, you've been there to sort me out. Ngaf, is Ngaf in? Ngaf, that is another area that we should have also been able to invite and bring on board. Youth Fund, are you here? Youth Fund, Women Enterprise Development Fund. I know agriculture is well represented. We have had agriculture programs specifically for young people with partners such as Ostadi, with partners such as World Vision. We have had, which other group? Yes. And right now we are doing programs with NARIG, which is also a program with agriculture. And the clients, who are they? Young people and women. So we realize that when we are left out, we are not actually going to make an impactful programming for our communities. But I pray that we continue with these collaborations, we continue with these partnerships, so that where we can mobilize, where we can introduce some sort of concept that can help organizations and groups of women and young people to continue uplifting their own lives and continuing to do things that can help generate income for themselves and be able to employ. We have a very vibrant young people's group in Bamba. They call themselves Wamaziwa. Wazojema. Then we have another group in Tezo. And we have a fisher group in the Sokoni area. These are groups that are not only able to make a living for themselves, but they are able to employ. They are able to bring other people on board to make a living as well. So when we empower these young people and women, we are actually empowering communities for own development. And with those very many remarks, may I want to take this very early opportunity to thank the organizers of this particular forum and to wish us a good collaboration and impactful program. Thank you.
Now we want to move to the real deal, and I think I'll invite Vincent, who will now take us through the first session of our dialogue before we break for lunch, and he'll also tell us what we'll expect when we come back from lunch after our first session. Welcome, Vincent.
We have talked about quite a number of things that we are doing as an organization, and of course also the different stakeholders that are represented here. I heard of SDSP. I know DIO also has some programs supporting youth, and we have also heard from the government about what they are doing to also enable women and youth empowerment, particularly in agribusiness. And that is why we have this conversation, so that we talk about what is being done well and where we can improve on. That is actually the essence of having these conversations. And it is not a one-off conversation. We envision that it should be continuous, so that probably next year when we come, we review and say, this is where we were the other time, and we take stock of some of the things that, even some of the challenges that are identified, and which then should inform any intervention going forward. So, as an organization working with small enterprises, these are basically people who are in the private sector in their own small way. And I know the director from trade will agree with me that really these are people who are in the private sector in their own way. And normally when we say the government needs to create jobs or give us jobs, in a layman's language, anybody thinking would probably think that we all need to go to the county headquarters and get to the county offices and wait for a salary at the end of the month. Is it really the way? I believe those who are in this room, those who are making policy, those who are implementing policy, as well as other stakeholders, even those from the private sector, they believe that the right way is for the government to provide that enabling environment for those jobs to be created. The kind of thing, for example, that is being done under the Mbegu Fund. When you go there, get your money, start a project, what happens? Along the way, someone is employed. You will need somebody to come, either as a casual or as a full-time employee. Along the way, kuna yule mtu wa boda pia ambaye atapata kazi hapo. And that is the way to grow the economy. You had the discussions right now, even at the national level, the campaigns. It boils down to how to create those jobs and the cost of enabling communities to create those jobs. So that is the essence of these discussions. As KCIC, on a quarterly basis, our clients are here. They can attest to that we track the number of jobs that they create. That is our number one priority, jobs. The number of jobs they create on a quarterly basis. Even and I think that is something that we will do next time we have a forum like this. We will simply fish the data from our M&D unit and then tell you what the hub manager presented as the number of people we've admitted, the funding that has gone to them for those who have received funding, and then we should now go down to the number of jobs that have been created at the county level in Kilifi County by these clients since we started. That on a quarterly basis, kama ile group ya the fisheries, the fishing group, they tell us on a quarterly basis the data is disaggregated into full-time and part-time jobs. And then we normally go again into women and youth. So we are able to look at it both ways. And those are the kind of conversations that if we have, then we are able to say what impact is a project having on the lives of the people. And if any other, we can have that tracking system for any other intervention that we have that impacts the economy, then we can have a conversation and say, from this project, this is what we have. From the other project, this is what we have. And then we continue like that. So most of our policy discussions, even at the national level, we've talked about other thematic sectors that we are working in, including renewable energy. You look at waste management, water management, commercial forestry. Those are programs that we are implementing at the national level. And there's a program called Green Bees. It's more towards climate technologies and climate smart. Even if it's agriculture, it's about climate smart agriculture and clean technologies. Normally, when it comes to the policy front, we have discussions with government and at the national level based on the experiences of these clients that we support. So we call them our clients. In case you find that we are using that word quite a lot, it's because they are our clients. We call them our clients. The enterprises that are placed under our incubation or acceleration program. So here is the deal. We can do all the much we can, but when it reaches somewhere, we don't have the power to decide on certain issues. And that power lies here. That's why we have these conversations. To also speak, converse, tell you the other side of the story, tell you what is working. And look at it. We talked about employment. Quite a number of our clients are very young people. And most of them are fully employed in those enterprises. And so that is the story of the kind of impact that we are also creating in terms of giving them the capacity, appreciating that, for example, if you are in agriculture, then you may not necessarily have the skills to do business. So how do you commercialize? Again, probably financing is an issue, and then you get it, and you move forward. But then, the reason why we must have these conversations is because of the fact that having done all that, they might reach somewhere and find a challenge that can only be unlocked by the power that lies here. again, we cannot do everything. During KANU days, they used to say, KANU ndio baba na mama. And really, the government is the mother and the father. If, for example, we receive so many applications, the hub manager mentioned the number of applications we've received in this county, for example. Our assumption on receiving such applications is that these are people who need the kind of support that the successful applicants will be getting. But where do they end up? You know? But who is supposed to take care of that? It's the government, right? Through their own structures and by the government itself also identifying certain opportunities in collaboration with other actors within the ecosystem. But most importantly, as I've mentioned, we also appreciate what the government is doing. And it is a complementary role. We complement what you are doing, and we have these conversations to only make things better. And in the course of providing support to our clients, they also appreciate that what is being done by the government at the county level, and even certain programs that are available at the national government level. And that is why when Director asked whether NGAF and Women Enterprise and Youth Enterprise were here, it actually speaks to that collaboration. And just Bwana Director, actually they got the invitation, only that probably because of one or two reasons, they may not have made it. But we ensured that as very key stakeholders in this, we ensure that they received the invitation. Yeah. But we are hoping next time they will also be able to come, and we have a wholesome conversation. So again, on our side, we have roots. You know, the program has roots in the, if you look at the way the government is structured, we have the agriculture department, which also has its own roots into livestock, fisheries. We also have roots in trade, which also has cooperatives and all that. Of course, we are supporting youth and women. So again, socially, the social impact is about the youth. And so the youth and gender element come in. And that is why we speak to all these issues. But basically, when we look at the enabling environment, then the question becomes, how enabling, how? The how question is the environment here in terms of enabling people who are in the different value chains to go about their business, to do their business. Yes, as I've mentioned, a lot is being done, and from our own experience, our people, our clients do appreciate. And that is why we even invited other stakeholders within the county, other players within the county who can also attest to what you are doing and to also highlight some of the gaps. And some of these gaps could really go into policy decisions, could be about regulations, could be about legislation. Like the idea of the Mbegu Fund, very bright, and I know everyone will agree. And it is legislated, it is passed in the assembly. When Kingi is in his second term, whoever comes after him, and I know directors will always be there. Whoever comes after him, will he do away with it? Will he? No, he can't, because it is law. And that is why you look at these long-term policy and legal decisions, they impact generations. And so if we are able then to be futuristic and take those kind of bold steps, and it's even good that, it's the directors who are here, because bado tutakuwa tu. Program si iko for 5 years. Maybe within the 5 years, next year at this time, probably at the top level, we will be having different people. But nyinyi, tutakuwa na nyinyi hapa. And that is a very good conversation for us. So that we look at it from a historical perspective. Even the challenges that will be identified here, we know there are certain decisions that cannot be made in one sitting. They cannot be made probably by early next year. But it's good the conversation is going on. If we have issues that will maybe require to go into policy, and then we look at a way of going through that. And the CIDPs are also getting reviewed after elections next year, when new governments come in, and then they say we need a CIDP from 2023 maybe to 2027, and then we have our issues there. And then we have our issues carried down to the annual plans, to the fiscal papers, and we move on. Where there are issues that probably will just require directives and administrative actions, well and good, we'll be happy, because then we'll say that will be acted upon immediately. Where there are needs for consultations, again, we are still ready for that. But it's also good to have these conversations with government, just bring in our clients from the private sector, in fact, some of them were even asking us, even by yesterday, some of them were asking us, should we come with what we do and showcase what we do? Very brilliant ideas. And I know next time we will have the time for that, to organize so that when we talk about some of these things, they come and we just have a session of probably 1 hour or 2 hours just interacting with them. And they come from various value chains within the agricultural mix, so that we talk of real, tangible things that are being done on the ground. So just to start us off is most of the issues that are there touch basically on agriculture and trade because we are talking agribusiness. We are talking agribusiness. So it's agriculture and it's trade. Director, livestock, I know he's now wearing so many hats of the whole of his department. And Bwana Director, tafadhali utaongelelea hayo mambo yote ambayo yatakuja. And thank you so much for accepting that. The same to Director Trade or any other issue that will need the other departments as well. So, because of the time that we have, but we still have good time, we can pick issues from the agriculture side, anything related to agriculture, anything related to just that department, fisheries, livestock, and then we will come then after lunch, we look at issues touching on trade and cooperatives. Here, trade and cooperatives are twins. Yes, that's okay. In other places, you find cooperatives also under agriculture. So it's now an open forum, and really, we would actually want everyone to just contribute. You know, that open forum, no? Where you speak freely. So it's about, and our clients know we've had conversations about this. It's also about mentioning those good things that are being done, and those good things we would want those good things to outlive the current government. And then we also identify those challenges that are there that now directors will note and take back to their waziris, and we find solutions for them. And we say this is not right because probably there's a policy gap, there's a regulatory gap here, regulations are too restrictive or things like that. And here there's a gap because probably mimi kama director niko hapa Kilifi, lakini pengine maofisa wangu ambao wako kule kwa ground Magarini, pengine kuna uzembe fulani. And then they find also a solution for that. So that is actually the essence of this conversation. It's very cordial. It's in a very friendly atmosphere. And at the end of the day, it is just aimed at getting at very good solutions that will then push us forward. So with that, I would want to invite comments on the agriculture sector, and of course the issues are quite many, but then we start with the ones on the agriculture sector. So anything on trade we will tackle after the next health break. So those issues around extension services, those issues around, anything on the field related to agriculture or even fisheries or things like that, then we tackle them first. So, and I've said it's open for both our clients, and it's also open for other stakeholders we invited, because you also operate within the same environment. And you know, when you operate within the same environment, you complement one another. And you can even speak to something, you know, when you speak, is like you are speaking on behalf of the millions out there who are within the same value chain or within the same sector. So it's quite open, and this is now for you. I would request the comms team to have the mics ready to go around the room so that we have this for the next period of time, and then in the afternoon we'll take the ones for trade. So we will pick issues in batches of 3. So when we pick 3, we'll allow Bwana Director to respond where he needs to respond from where he is, and then we pick the next 3 as we move forward. So who is starting us off?
Asante, mimi ni Jamal Kasim Songo, Kibokiche Fisherman's Youth Group. Hii kikundi iko Kaloleni Sub County na tunafanya home ride wa samaki. Nashukuru kupata fursa hii kuongea na wale watu wa sekta yetu agriculture, fisheries and livestock. Na si swali lakini ni comment kidogo ambapo ningeomba pengine kwa uzuri zaidi nipitishe hapa ili directors tusaidiane. Hii project yetu wa fisheries tumeanza 2018 na tunashukuru kwa sababu Department of Fisheries imekuwa kitu train, tumefanya trainings nyingi kabisa, na kitu ambao hatujakielewa vizuri ni ile empowerment ambapo kama watu wa agriculture, watu wa dairy wao wanapata, lakini sekta yetu ya fisheries ni kama haijakuwa isolated, lakini kuna vitu vingine hatujapata full support. Kwa mfano kutoka kwa group yetu, huo muda ambao tumekaa sisi tumebahatika tukachimba pondi si wenyewe, tukabahatika pia tukanunua high density line sisi wenyewe, tukabahatika tukapata fingerlings sisi wenyewe. Lakini mara kwa mara, kwa sababu tunajua department huwa na hizo resources ambapo vijana huwa wanaweza kusaidika, sisi tumeandika proposal tukapeana kwa viongozi wetu ambao wanajukumika sana, hatuko hapa kuwalaumu, lakini ile time frame ambapo wana implement huwa inachukua muda sana. Kwa mfano sasa tulikuwa tumechimba pond zingine tuka request liner, huo muda umekuwa mrefu sana, hata tulipata sehemu nyingine mapeni tukabidi tukanunua liner. Pia wakati huo tulieka maji tukangojea fingerlings, maana tulikuwa tumeambiwa kuna fingerlings takuja, pia time ikaenda mrefu kabisa. Bahati mbaya hata ile maji ambayo tumeweka kulikuwa na kiangaza kakauka, kabidi tukaweka maji mengine tukanunua wenyewe na pesa zetu fingerlings. So sikuwa report, lakini nasema kwa sababu ni stakeholders, sometimes tunasimama upande ambapo hatusaidiani. Sisi tunaomba tunaposaidiwa na mafunzo na tunajitolea kama vijana, tumegaramika, tunafanya mradi wetu vizuri. Pia kama kuna support upande huu tuwe tunaupata, lakini kwa wale muda ambapo utakuwa unafaa. Na kwa ajili ya huo uongozi, basi tunaposema haya tunasema ili yachukulike, na tunajua kuna wenzetu tu wengi pale nje ambapo pengine miradi yao wao hangekuwa na uwezo. Sisi tuna uwezo. Wacha tuseme tu kweli, sisi tuna uwezo. Tumefanya huu mradi, lakini kwa sababu it's constitutional kwamba tupate hizo support, mara zingine huwa tunaziuliza kwa uzuri. Kwa hivyo tunaona wenzetu kwa upande wa dairy kuna vitu mnapeana nini, mbegu nini, lakini pale kwetu kwa samaki mara nyingi ni kama hii project imelalia hiyo agriculture, lakini kama iko nje kidogo, haipati support nyingi. Na pia nimalizie kwa upande wa trade. Hiyo nataka nipeane hiyo comment kwamba kama vijana hiyo department tumebenefit sana, na tunasema tu tunashukuru. tunashukuru. Na you work on the same government, na sisi kwa tuna isolate hii tuchukue hii. Pia nataka kupeana hiyo comment kwamba kwa Department of Trade si tulianza hii kwa benefit check number 4, si kwa group number 4 Kilifi County kupata hiyo funding. Na ni kweli tumelipa kwa 8 month, tukachukua 250 tukalipa 11th month, na sasa tulikuwa tumeapply 500, ni kama hiyo ambayo imekuwa processed. Ni challenge pia, niambie vijana wenzangu, wana biashara wenzangu kwamba ni opportunity. We should not take this for granted. Tuchukue kama fursa muhimu ambayo tunaweza ichukua na tukaona tumeendelea. But hizo department they work hand on hand, tuone tumesaidiana ili generation yetu pale nyuma ambayo inakuja itukute tuwa tumejenga misingi mizuri kibiashara ili nao waweze kuendelea. Kwa hiyo machache, Mungu awabariki.
Asanteni sana, na pia for appreciating him on that point, and he has actually finished on a very powerful note by identifying the opportunity that is there, which is also part of the reason why we are here, to identify the opportunities that also those who are here and even those who are out there are able to tap into. Thank you very much. And the last one was a compliment, but the first one, you raised some concerns, particularly with regard to fisheries and what you are doing, what you're already doing, and the challenges that you have. So I know Bwana Director is taking notes. He's going to get the opportunity to say something about that. In the meantime, we can have the next two and allow him to make comments on those.
Mimi naitwa Steven, ni chairman wa kikundi kinaitwa Mtongani Kidundu, iko Kilifi Creek, mwisho kabisa huko na Run Ward. Pale tuko na projects si moja, tuko na fish farming, tuko na beekeeping, tuko na commercial mangrove conservation, na pia tuko na part of ecotourism. Naomba kuongelea vitu viwili, na it's not a question, lakini ni kama mapendekezo. Ya kwanza, kwa fish farming ile ambayo mwenzangu alikuwa anaiongelea, sisi pale yetu si ya fresh water kama yao, kama nilivyomwelewa, yetu ni ya sea water. Tumechimba hizo fish ponds na tuko na hii project since 2011, na tunashukuru sana county government, national government na hata NGOs kama Kwetu Training Center na wengine wametutrain. Sahi kwa capacity tunaona tuko na ujuzi wa kuendeleza ile shughuli, ila kuna changamoto mahali ambayo hii changamoto ni mapendekezo yetu kwamba yangeshughulikiwa. Ni kwamba kwa mfano sahihi, live example ni kwamba tuli expect the highest tide 1st of October, kwa sababu sisi tuna pale katika section yetu tunajua after the ile overhead of the sun, after that kutakuwa na highest tide. Hiyo iko April na iko pia October. Tulijitahidi tukajaribu kutetea zile ponds zetu ili wale samaki wasije wakabebwa na maji wakatolewa, and we managed that one on October. Lakini cha kushangaza ni kwamba kulingana na hali ya hewa kumekuja tide nyingine kubwa zaidi ya hiyo muda ambao tulikuwa hatu expect just last week, ambao hiyo tide sahihi ndio inaendelea kumalizika. So with this tide imetuharibia, imetupunguzia ile mali ambayo tulikuwa nayo. We have reported to the ministry, lakini ile changamoto ambayo huwa tunaipata mara kwa mara, kwanza response yao huwa haiko faster, alafu inaonekana kama kwa ministry ama kwa department hakuna vitu kama emergency funds ambazo pengine kukitokezea dharura kama ile wanaweza kusaidia kuzuia ama wanaweza kusaidia kurudisha ile pond vile ilikuwa. That was one. Secondly, iko kwa trade department. Tuko ndani ya CFA ya Mtakimau, na kama user group tumeruhusiwa na KFS tukae pale tufanye income generating activities tukiconserve that forest. NEMA wanatu supervise, wanaangalia whatever we are doing there, hatuharibu mazingira lakini tunaimarisha ule msitu. But sasa kwa upande wa trade na licensing, that department is sijui ni ipi na lie hapo. Kuna some officers wanakuja halafu wanaulizia, how are you here? Who gave you permission to be here? Do you have license to be here? Do you have a title deed of this land you are operating with? So katika hali ile, kukiwa na wale customers wetu pale, wanaanza kuwa na ile hofu ya kuwa labda hawa hawako vizuri, labda hapa tunaweza kuja tukashikwa, labda hapa kunaweza kuwa na hivi na hivi. Ndio tunaomba kama inawezekana kwa project zile zote ambazo zinaendelea, before watu waende kuulizia licenses and whatever, kokote ambao kutapatikana kuna projects ama businesses ambazo zinaendelea, atafutwe yule mhusika, aende kwa ofisi ili aulizwe, ajieleze, kama kuna any documents apeane kuonyesha ile hali yake ya kukaa pale, ili kusiwe kunaonekana kuwa labda national government inajua, county government haijui, county government inajua, national government haijui. Kule nyanjani hawajui Uhuru Kenyatta wala Kingi, wanajua serikali ni serikali. Sasa ikiwa huyu alikuja na akaona ile hali iko na ameruhusu inaendelea na mwingine anakuja, then wale customers wanakuwa na hali ya hofu kidogo. Nyinyi mko hapa, mnaweza kutufanya tuje tushikwe, nyinyi mko hapa, vitu kama hizo. Asante.
Kwa majina naitwa Mishi Borafia Omar kutoka Malindi. Kwanza ningelitoa shukrani kwa Kenya Climate kwa kututambua na kutuhusisha kufika mahali kama hapa. Nimetoka katika kikundi cha wamama wa Mayungu High Vision Women Group, na tunashukuru kwa hicho kikundi venye tulivyoanza. Tulikianza mwaka wa 2017 mpaka kufikia mwaka wa 2018 tukapata kuwa kwenye value chain ya fisheries. Kwa hivyo tuko katika value chain ya fisheries, na tuliweza kupata ufadhili wa kutoka kwa Ustadi Foundation kama wamama. Tulipopata huo ufadhili, walitufungua sana masikio, waliweza kutupeleka kwa trainees, na baada ya kutupeleka kwa hizo trainees za business entrepreneur, waliweza kutupeleka kwa training za ICT ili tukaweza pia kujieleza zaidi na kuomba mikopo, kuomba grants. Tuliweza kufadhiliwa, na pia tunashukuru pia Mbegu Fund iliweza kutupatia mkopo mwaka huu ambao ni wa 250,000. Pia tumeshukuru tu sana. Tumeweza pia kujinunulia hiyo boat katika hicho kikundi kama wamama. Tumeweza pia kuajiri wa mama wenzetu na pia vijana, lakini changamoto ambayo tuko nayo katika hicho kikundi, changamoto kubwa, wakati samaki wakiwa wengi huwa tunakosa hiyo market. Kwa hivyo tunaomba hiyo mtusaidie katika marketing ya hao samaki wetu, na baada tukiwa tumejulikana zaidi katika huo upande wa marketing, kuna wakati pia changamoto kubwa inatokea ya kupata wale samaki. Kuna wakati bahari huwa inachafuka, inaleta shida. Ikileta shida, tunaomba mbinu mbadala ambao utafanya biashara yetu isilale, kama vile tukipata hizo fish ponds tulijaribu katika hii agribusiness pia kuomba, kuna wakati kuna hizo applications tulijaza, lakini hatukubahatika kupata, na pia hatuja kufa moyo, tutajaribu pia kujaza tena kabla hiyo Friday.
Asante sana kwa hiyo women group, na hata ingawa hawajafaulu kuingia kwa program ya agribiz, bado wako na huo moyo wa kujumuika na sisi. Tumeshukuru sana na muapply, and I wish you all the best in your application. Asante sana. Sasa coming back to the directors, I see most of the comments were on fisheries. Najua fisheries and livestock are not very far from one another. They both give us protein, and I know director is well versed to respond, of which the first came from the other group and what they are doing and the challenges they are facing. And then there's also another challenge from Kilifi Creek, the challenge with the tides, the high tides, and how it has affected the fishermen. And of course, there is also another comment from our sister there on marketing of the fish. Sometimes they may experience post-harvest losses, the samaki. So how can they be supported to also find markets for their produce? And then there's also another comment. This one was touching on trade, on licensing regulations. We will give the Director Trade to respond to that.
Let me start with the first one from Kibao Kiche, Kaloleni. Ni nani alikuwa anauliza? Sawa. Sikupata jina lako vizuri, lakini najua unatoka Kibao Kiche. Let me first of all thank you as a group for the efforts that you have put in your project. And that is the way to go. If you find your business is flourishing, usilalamike ukaanza kuuliza kwa nini sisi hatupati msaada kutoka kwa watu wengine. Actually, you are being trained, tulisumzia kitu kinaitwa sustainability. And that is moving towards sustainability. Kwa hivyo si kusema msiulize msaada. Msaada ukija ni vizuri, inawapandisha level nyingine. Lakini pale mko muweze kujaribu ku expand your business. Na sisi sote kama naona wengi wetu si wazee sana, ni youth. Kama tunaweza kufanya kitu na tufanye sisi wenyewe, itakuwa ya faida sana kuliko kungojea msaada kutoka nje. Kwa sababu kama msaada auji, ni kusema tukiendelea kunungunika au kusikitika kama kwamba hatujasaidiwa, tutarudi nyuma. Lakini tukijikaza, we will be able to help others. Hii misaada tunapata ni pesa za watu wengine, sio watu wamenyinyima wakapeana zisaidie watu wengine wa improve. Kwa hivyo mimi nawashukuru na muendelee na moyo huo. Hii mambo ya kuuliza fingerlings, tumekuwa na challenges kama departments, pesa ya serikali haitoki wakati tunaihitaji. You can be surprised, mpaka saa hii, since July mpaka saa hii, hakuna pesa imekuja. Si kama ulikuwa unangojea stock your phone in July au August, singekuwa iko empty. Kwa hivyo tukiwa tunaweza tujisaidie, tusingoje kusaidiwa. Na nafikiri
just to make it clear for the audience, ukisema kwamba pesa ya serikali haikuji kwa wakati,
kwa mwaka huu imekuwa na delay from the national government to the counties. Counties huwa inapata pesa kutoka the national government ndio iweze kutumia. Kwa hivyo huku kwetu huwa hatu generate money. Ile devolution tunaambiwa ni pesa itoke kule juu tupewe, alafu ndio tusaidiane.
Very good, and it's very important to also clarify certain issues, because then the participants also get to appreciate the kind of challenges that you also face as a government. Ndio sasa mtu pia akienda pale asifikirie tu pengine serikali hainanga shida, you know, like right now, as you've clarified, that the delay is from money that comes from the national government to the county government, and that is very, very important as part of also the challenges that you face as a government.
The other issue is nimesema support does not come in time, and the reason is that the needy people are many. So if you are targeted and you get whatever has been brought to you, tushukuru Mungu, kwa sababu we are benefiting among many others. Ile challenge ingine ambayo tuko nayo, especially on fisheries, fingerlings, the sources are few in Kilifi. Nafikiri kuko na mmoja au wawili. Mmoja ako Mtwapa na nafikiri there may be others. Kwa hivyo supply is limited. Kwa hivyo inaweza kudelay. Hata nafikiri wengine hawajapata. Walikuwa targeted na hawajapata. Kwa hivyo wale wamepata, tushukuru. Na tuweke efforts, tusitegemee ufadhili. Actually tuombe Mungu tuwe sisi ni wafadhili. Sawa sawa. Tusiwe kila wakati tunasema sisi maskini. Ya Steven Kilulu, tunasikitika kama kwamba you are affected by these high tides, and tuko na sijui mtu wa trade atasumza, lakini emergency funds zinaweza kuwa siko in Department of Disaster, but it is very difficult to access this money because it has to be authorized from I don't know whether it's governor's office or from, like now, when the government, our president declared drought and national disaster, now people are accessing emergency funds. But this one of your case is somehow difficult to get that money because we don't treat this one as an emergency. It's just an accident. Kama tsunami ikija inakuwa ni bahati mbaya, lakini we don't plan for it. Na wakati mwingine inakuwa somehow difficult. We can plan for a certain amount of money. Like one time I planned for drought mitigation, and I set aside 10 million and it was available. But that year it rained so well that there was enough grass, pasture, and fodder. So that money was diverted to other uses because we could not buy livestock or feeds. So unaona? So sometimes in agriculture it's difficult to plan for emergencies. The other question for our lady in Malindi. The challenge you have talked of marketing fish is a little challenge, and the department is working with the other stakeholders so that all the fish that is produced is marketed. And I think in Mayungu they are, tumesema ni Mayungu, there is a depot, fish depot, which is being constructed. So that is an intervention towards making sure that the fish ambao mtakuwa mnapata inahifadhiwa vizuri ndio iweze kuuzwa. Na nafikiri yangu ni hayo. Ile kitu ingine mlikuwa mnauliza kuhusu, kuna mtu aliuliza kuhusu training. Department of Fisheries imeandika has employed many staff. Actually they have employed more staff than those ones in livestock. So any challenge that you people in fisheries have, contact your fisheries officer where you work, and you will be given the necessary assistance.
Thank you very much, Bwana Director. Probably from your responses, I would want to follow up on two issues. You said there is a shortage of the fingerlings. There are few to get from around here. What do you think would be the solution to this? Do you need to look for other places to get them? And how do you think the county can support you with regard to that? Also on disaster preparedness, for example, like what he mentioned, the tides, and you are saying, of course, it can at times be accidental, but we also don't want to, hawataki wakufe moyo. We want to encourage them. And of course, sometimes even when you are taking insurance for death or for sickness, of course, you can be taking insurance for like 10 years and you don't die. Eh? Of course, you pray that you should not die. Ama kuna mtu anataka kukufa. No one wants to die, but you do it just as a contingency measure, just to take care of any eventuality. Of course, we would want them to succeed, not to be affected by the tides. But for the few instances that it happens, what do you see as a solution on your side?
Acha nijibu hii ya kwanza on availability of fingerlings. Nimesema we have some hatcheries in Kilifi, lakini they are not adequate to supply everybody who needs at the time he or she needs. We have also another hatchery in Sagana, where we used to get fingerlings before the farmer established one at Mtwapa, and I'm also told there is another one in Malindi. So, and mark you, these fingerlings, you don't just go and buy, you make an order. Because mothers are few, and they lay their eggs, and the eggs have to grow for some time before you go and be supplied with the fingerlings. And I'm told to be successful, you purchase the fingerlings. Most of them should be males. Otherwise, if you get females, they will start laying eggs early, and they don't mature. Kwa hivyo kuna njia wanatumia so that they get as many male fingerlings as possible. Kwa hivyo, in the near future, in Kilifi, kutakuwa na many archeries. There is this project which has come, inaitwa Kelsfed. Ni mpya na nafikiri is well funded. It will support those people, those farmers who want to start archeries, fish archeries. In crops, means kuna project inaitwa KSF Kral. Watu wa agriculture nafikiri nisiseme uongo. Farmers do insure their crops. Means kama hali ya anga imekuwa mbaya, wanakuwa compensated. Na watu wa fisheries, I don't know whether there is anybody who is ready to insure, lakini siwezi kuzungumza na nikusema hiko kwa sababu I don't interact with them to know whether they have an insurance. Lakini crops najua in agriculture, in maize wako nayo. Kwa hivyo that's an issue which can be looked into. It's a challenge ambao inaweza kuenda kwa ponds na hata kwa hizo submarine as insurance.
I think yeah, that is just also a very good way of letting us know some of the issues that exist. Probably we can discuss that. We might not reach at the actual solution as at now, you know, but it is good. And as I said, the director akichukua notes, najua akirudi pale wakati anaongea na chief officer ama na waziri, pia atamwambia that these are some of the issues that are coming through. Because probably when he came, he didn't know the existence of such an issue. You see? But now going back and having discussions at government level, then they will say, oh, there's a challenge here. What can we do? What can we do about it? Because as he's saying, for crops, there's a solution under the other program which takes care of such kind of emergency issues in case of losses. And then now they also need to start thinking in terms of fisheries, there are also certain risks. So how do we ensure that these people are well taken care of so that they don't give up in terms of what they are doing? So we take it at that, and that is very, very important. And I've seen, nimechungulia kidogo, he has used a very powerful word there in terms of noting it down. So hiyo hata governor akiona, ataona hapa kuna jambo. We appreciate that. Yes, director.
I want to also announce to us, all of us, that we have a team of trainers from the county government, from the Department of Gender and from Department of Youth, State Department of Youth, National Government. We also have some people trained as TOTs in the Department of Trade. I remember we went for a 2-week training in Machakos on a certification program by ILO to be trainer of trainers in a program that we call Start and Improve Your Business. So we do this training on voluntary basis. I'm sure you can't pay us because we are supposed to be paid 20,000 per session, and of course we cannot ask our groups to pay us that much unless we are hired by groups such as Imarika. For you people, I think what we need to do in consultation with my colleague director from Agriculture and Livestock, we could identify the need for these trainings. We are encouraging groups of young people and women in anything they do to think enterprise, to think business. Whatever idea you are doing, whatever thing you are doing, think of it from the perspective of earning a profit or making profit, and thereby making that sustainable. For us, we have some modules of training in form of packages. And for example, the Start Your Business could take like 3 days, Improve Your Business could take like 5 days. And we have those packages all the way to being an SME. So for us, I think we are available. I know my colleagues from Department of Trade, kulikuwa na yule bwana wa Malindi na madam pale, na kutoka kwa Youth Fund, tuna Sifa. So these were strategically identified trainers to the effect that you as groups who are enterprising will not have such issues as the ones we are raising. So maybe it's information that we didn't have, and I hereby want to share this information with you so that you can organize yourselves as women groups, as youth groups, and we will be available to train you. Msikue watu wa kungoja, kuita na kungoja. Mkiita kama mlima haukuji, ufate. And I have been singing this kind of thing to young people, and we have made inroads. Kuna watu wamekaa kule wakiomba mbegu fund, wanakaa mwishowe wanaona kwamba hakuna kitu kinafanyika. But wakija pale ofisini, tunaambatana nao hata physically, tunaenda mpaka kwa ngafu. Hebu tafuta hii application ya hawa. Tunaenda kwa mbegu fund. Mbegu fund wamenifundisha nisiende because nikipiga simu they act. Ngafu ndio nina shida, na youth fund bado kidogo kuna shida. Nimeattach groups with youth fund, wanapigiwa simu, hawachukui simu. Vijana wanaorganize, wafikiwe, hawafikiwi. So I think we need a talk between us ourselves, and ninyi pia msituogope. I like the courage that you have. When you are feeling some pinch somewhere, please usikubali kukaa hapo na kufia ngumu. Just raise an alarm that ni umenikanyaga. So as service providers, tumeambiwa kwamba fisheries kuliandikwa watu. I beg that wafikiwe, na kama hamfikiwi, piga kelele useme kwamba sisi hatufikiwi. My office is your home. Mimi ni babako as a director gender and youth. Ukipiga kelele nitawafikia hawa wote kabisa. Wote kabisa. Kwa hivyo usiogope kupiga kelele. Asante.
Asante sana bwana director kwa pia helping the team here to identify some of the opportunities that are there in the county, and more so in terms of the training opportunities. That speaks to capacity building. I hope there are marketing elements in them so that it also helps them to identify markets because that was the main issue.
It is a whole package, right from developing a business idea all the way to expanding an already existing. We can catch you at any point of your business.
Exactly. And that really speaks to what I mentioned earlier in terms of what we are able to do as an organization, because what director is mentioning is very close to what we are doing. But then, remember my sister there said, wao hawajapata nafasi kuingia kwa program. And there are so many like her. And that is why we also needed them to come to this meeting, not only the ones we are supporting, but also to show that there are some who are left out, but they would require the same kind of support that is needed. Director has mentioned that. Most importantly, and don't forget this, he has said that their offices are open. Knock, knock, knock. So if you have any issue, walk and discuss. And I know most of the time, either we get so busy, or sometimes we feel that huko hakuendeki, you can't go there because probably there are other people who are meant to go there. No, there are no special people. It's just you and me. And director wants to agree with that.
Let me make a comment related to availability of extension staff. Extension staffs wako. Na tumesema we are 4 directorates. We have Directorate of Crops and tuseme ni crops ile tunaita agriculture. As of now, they have employed a good number of staff. Na wako in the field. Ile challenge tuko nayo ni transport facilities hazitoshi. Siko from other programs kama NARIC iko na motorbikes. Nafikiri zile sijui kama kuna zingine. Kwa hivyo mtu ambaye anahitaji usaidizi na kuna ofisa, asingoje ofisa aende akamtafute, aende aulize usaidizi na atapata, because agriculture imeemploy staff wengi wale wapya wako between 20 and 30 ambao they are fast enough. Department of Fisheries pia imeandika watu wengi, lakini ile challenge inaweza kuwa kwa saa hii hawana transport. Kwa hivyo mtu akiwa na mahitaji aende kwa ofisi na asiogope. Hata ukija ofisi ya director atakusaidia, ukienda ofisi ya sub county atakusaidia, because sub counties zingine ziko na more than they need, lakini they are there to offer services. Departments ambazo ziko na challenge kwa saa hii ni livestock production, kwa sababu as we are talking I have niko na kama 8 wards. Hizi wards ambazo hasina staff, so they are getting services from other wards. Kwa hivyo hapo tunaweza kusema is somehow difficult, lakini tumekuwa promised kama kwamba wataemploy watu, but I don't know when. Wakipatikana tutawandeploy. Kwa hivyo kule tuko na challenges, tukubali, lakini tusiketi mambo yetu yaharibike tukingojea ofisa. Let us consult. Pia tuko na private watu wengine ambao ni private who are trained. You can also engage them, lakini at a cost, au atakulipisha kitu. Lakini those employed by the government, we don't charge. Thank you.
I know there are also other comments related to extension, but because of time, we will take them when we come back from lunch, so that we also allow people to re-energize. And then that is the time that also director will respond, and then we will take other rounds of concerns. But before we go, allow me to give my brother over there.
Sasa nilikuwa nafikiria kwamba based on the fact that director amesema kwamba sasa ndio Mayungu wanataka kujenga sijui ni storage facility, which means it is already not there or it does not exist. Na samaki wanashikwa pengine kwa wingi. Storage becomes a problem. So I was of the opinion that they should even be thinking of value addition. Kuna vile samaki wanakuwa value added, kuna kitu kinaitwa ng'onda ama hata makumba. I think madam you know that. Sasa mki-embrace hiyo value addition, hasa hao samaki mkishika mkiona ni wengi na soko inatatiza, you can go ahead and do some value addition. Muna dry, it increases the storage time, and then you can sell when the market is available. Kwa hivyo option mnafikiria mki-embrace, I think you will avoid most of the wastages which you could be experiencing as at now. That was my suggestion.
A very powerful one, and I see director agreeing with that suggestion on value additions to do away with to reduce post-harvest losses of fish. Sawa sawa. Thank you very much. So far so good. And it is more than 30 minutes past 1. And I know our lunch is ready, so we can have it. And then we come back for a very good afternoon session when we are fresh, when we are energized. Asanteni sana na muenjoy.
As a reminder, my name is Joseph Kazungu Katana, the Assistant Director of Trade. And I'd like to, first of all, give comments based on what was discussed earlier before we went for lunch. Number one, I like to thank Kibaukiche fish farmers for the good job that they're doing. That is a good job, and keep it up. We are also happy when we hear that our fund has actually assisted youth groups. So keep it up. Go to Jeffo and get more money. Hakikisha unampa pesa. Sawa? Yeah. The second issue that was raised by Mr. Stephen of Kidundu Mnarani. And that was basically the issue of licenses. Now, of course, I had the opportunity during our lunch break to interrogate Mr. Stephen on the kind of licenses that the people or the officers who went there were asking for. But unfortunately, that information was not very, very clear, because he was talking about business license, title deeds, and also, unfortunately, the people who were there did not get the details of the officers who went to ask about these documents. So I think, before I respond, that it is also critical for you as an investor, right, to talk to your people, get details about these officers. Because yes, they might be genuine officers, but on the other end, maybe they were county officers at one point, they left service, na sasa wanajitafutia tu pesa kwa njia ambayo si sahihi. Sawa, because a genuine officer should come and show their identity card, right? Ask the questions, and of course, ikiwezekana yeye pia awache contact yake hapo, kwamba we were here to inquire about these things and maybe we'll come for follow-up. You see? So that way it will also be easier for us as a department to respond that our officer so-and-so was there, and these are the issues that he was following up. Now, About licenses, I want to tell you that the licenses in Kilifi County are currently under the Ministry of Finance, not Trade, right? All the licenses are under the Ministry of Finance, the Revenue Department, right? Of course, we are the custodians of the Licensing Act. It's under Trade, and we are actually working towards bringing this particular issue of licenses to our department. So I hope I have answered your question, right? If you have my number now, if your people can confirm the name of that particular officer, then I can give you the relevant feedback. Maybe lastly, this is a comment on the lady, Manyungu, the group that were talking about fish. At times they get a lot of fish. Basically, there are three issues. One of them was the value addition. I think this is a short-term plan that they can actually adopt, right? Dry those fish, right? Give them a longer lifespan, then sell. But also, as a Department of Trade, we have our investment arm that we normally, when we go outside the countries, we look for investors who can actually come and be off-takers, right? But this is a bit long-term. So once some of these investors come in, you can maybe at that particular time be told to come in as a group so that you can increase your tonnage and these people can be buying off the fish. Another option that we have is through our private-public partnership, where we can also look at maybe putting up a cold room. Currently, we are working with MESPT, one of our partners, and we are looking at putting a cold room at Mtwapa market. So this is something that we can also work on, but of course, again, it's a long-term plan. One of my officers can visit the place, look at the challenges, like I had said, and give a feedback report. Once that is done, then we look at whom can we partner to come and assist maybe in putting up a cold room. I believe those were the issues that had been raised, unless maybe there's something else that needs to be clarified.
Thank you very much, Director, for the response. You've actually given an indication of what can be done immediately, as well as the long-term plan that the county has in relation to some of the challenges identified here. And so, my brother Stephen, if I get your name right, you will take Director's number because he has indicated what needs to happen in form of those who come to ask about licenses and things like that. They are supposed to identify themselves, that is the right procedure. So then if nobody does that, then you are not able to know whether it's actually from the county or not. And so that is a challenge whose solution we are getting right away. And so you take that contact and then you are able to identify in which place that is happening so that he can then find a way of investigating and knowing whether the people doing that are actually from the county or not. Thank you very much. And also for elaborating on the long-term plans for the cold room through PPP, as well as other plans that are in progress to enhance trade especially opportunities from outside where you can have the off-takers come in and also buy the fish so that we reduce the post-harvest losses that my sister identified. But of course, in the immediate term, there are suggestions on value addition as a way of also reducing the post-harvest losses. So we are looking at both what can be done practically within in the immediate term, as well as the long-term solution. I hope that is okay. Thank you. So we take another round of concerns, and particularly, I know there are quite a number of trade issues, and we want to try to finish also as early as possible because the directors have other engagements, but we don't want anything to escape them. So again, we take another round very quickly, to the point, as we move on.
My name is Marietta, and I'm in the dairy industry. My concern is on the issues of artificial insemination, which we started so well, and we are hoping to improve our livestock, but at the moment it's not available. Those services are not available, and if we have only heard of one person from Twapa who is actually very expensive. So I would request the director to explain to us how we'll go about that. The other thing is on fodder conservation. At the moment, we are really in a crisis. So when the hunger disaster is declared on people, the animals are also affected so much. And I think if you had done something better on conservation, would be a step ahead. I don't know whether when the rain starts, we'll get funding for those farmers who want to do fodder production. Another thing is about our dairy. I know that milk really needs quality water. Most times the water stops and we don't have water. We are seeing if the government, or maybe the county government, can help us drill boreholes, hoist a tank, so that we can have a constant supply of water in our dairy. And on lighting and maybe the power, we are also finding it very difficult to conserve our products, because there is always fluctuation of electricity. Now, if we can be shown how we can do the green energy, that would really assist us. Thank you very much.
My name is Sheila Mapenzi from Malindi. I'm in the manufacturing industry. I do porridge flour. And my concern on food manufacturing is that the facilities in Kilifi County, they are limited. For example, like if you want some services, you need to go to Kirdi in Nairobi for you to be assisted, which is quite a hassle, you know, and I think the county government can liaise with Kirdi in Nairobi, because there's Kirdi in Malindi, so maybe some of the services can come to Kilifi County. Thank you.
So my name is Tova Konde. I run Galana Melon Growers Limited in Langobaya, that is of the Malindi Tsavo Road. I have some 2 or 3 issues that touch in extension. First of all, I will acknowledge that the extension officers are available, and I say that they are doing a good job. what we see, the concern now comes where it comes to horticultural products, because most of them, I think, they all have these the traditional crops like maize, beans, and all these other sorts. But when it comes to the skill set required to deal with the horticultural crops like watermelon, sometimes they have limited skills on that. So I would request that whenever the county is maybe onboarding their officers on these agricultural activities, they also take into account of the horticultural crops. Secondly, on the same, I will say insurance, crop insurance. As the director has mentioned that there is other insurance underwriters in the agricultural sectors, but all these insurance underwriters, they don't take these horticultural crops. We have had Pula and APA, but they only do maize and these other traditional crops. So sometimes floods come and the crops are destroyed, but now we cannot have our compensation because these insurance providers don't take into account horticulture. I think there should also be ways where there will be regulations, like the irrigation board. I'm not sure if we have the county irrigation department, or not even department, but a section of it. But we will find some of the smallholders farmers doing irrigation just close to the river. And this has been affecting with siltation and all those leaching of nutrients. So if we can have these regulations being passed to them, we'll see that we can have all the farmers using the water from the Galana River. They can benefit all of them. Thank you.
So my comments are in addressing some of the ideas I think we should be looking into, especially with KCIC. One, I think, other than just focusing on the traditional ways of how we've been doing things, I can say that yes, there's a lot of work that needs to go into the supporting of the farmers, taking care of the challenges that we have. But again, who's taking care of the innovation? So my suggestion would be this. One, using KCIC Hub in Kilifi as a center for innovation and technology advancement. Because I believe in not just looking at the solutions from traditional ways, like let's get more farmers, because we have more youth in Kilifi graduating from Pwani universities, high schools, etc., but they're not getting attractive opportunities within the county. So they're told either go be a farmer, start your own company, do manufacturing, and as Mapenzi has said, you don't have Kirdi facilities around. So you can't go and really tap into innovations around manufacturing. So one is to have an innovation hub, either driven by the county, together with KCIC, and in collaboration with the universities, because I think we have a very good catchment of that. And then number two, I think education is also key, because we need to tap into the youth. And I don't know whether the director for youth is still around, but one of the key areas I believe we need to also tap into is the high schools, primary schools, and universities, where we can actually be training them and showing them what are some of the opportunities out there and how they can harness this. Because now, if you're looking at a young person from Pwani, including myself, I'd say that I'm a young person, but I don't know some of the opportunities in Kilifi. What about someone in a primary school or a high school or even Pwani University? How would they know how to even start a business about either water treatment or agriculture? So I'd suggest we also look into the education system, either creating programs that will go around schools, educating our youth on how to tap into these businesses even before they get to university. So I guess those are my contributions.
Good afternoon. I'm Viktor Nyamali. the founder of Dream Doers Investment. This is an agri-social enterprise which deal with innovation. I think my friend was also reading my mind because I wanted just to give some suggestion in the area of innovation. I think we should, in the county government, we should have a culture of motivating innovation instead of depending mostly on the traditional ways. And the one thing, the one way that we can do this culture of motivation, like we have got the Mbegu Fund department, they can come up with maybe Mbegu Fund challenge annually, whereby innovation can be brought forward and people can, youth can participate among themselves. And then when the best projects can fully be sponsored by the county government, through this we can now bring motivation to the youth. But if all of us here we deal with coconut oil, or all of us we deal with the same thing, I think we are not going to compete with the developed countries. So we should venture into the innovation areas. And we can only do this where there is motivation through the departments that are involved. So that was one of my points. Another thing, I think it is through the departments that we have in the county government, they can spearhead embracement of innovation to the people there. As I've said that I deal with innovation, and most of my innovations are brought up from the ground, whereby you learn what is the problem in Ganze or in Magarini, and then from there you come up with an innovation. Like one of it is that Ganze and Magarini, we have got the problem of rain, of drought. And I decided to come up with one innovation that was the vertical farm bag. But after coming up with the vertical farm bag, I listened, the politicians are saying you are listening to the ground. So I listened to the ground. And they said, you are coming up with a vertical farm bag that is just taking a very small place. But here, as Griama people have got very big tracts of land. What innovation can you come up with? From there, we also came up with another idea. That was the bucket irrigation kit. It's just a normal bucket, but it's connected with a dripping irrigation kit. So we come up with an innovation from what is needed in the grassroots. But it's only through some of the policies through the county government that many people or majority will be able to embrace this. So thank you.
Thank you. We can have responses from the directors.
Marietta, question 1, artificial insemination. Let me stand. Artificial insemination, we have enough semen and liquid nitrogen. The problem that we have is artificial insemination is done by private inseminators who are engaged by farmer groups. And they charge according to the way they have agreed. But the semen and the liquid nitrogen is obtained from the veterinary office here in Kilifi. Earlier, artificial insemination was fully privatized. You get your own semen, liquid nitrogen, and inseminator, privatized. But now we subsidize the semen and the liquid nitrogen. So the challenge we have is that the inseminators are the youths who have been trained in either certificate level, diploma level, au degree level. And because they are youths, sometimes they get employment elsewhere. So they leave the services that they were rendering to the groups, and that they go to where they get the new jobs. That is why now there may be such a problem. But I don't know, it is the groups to identify one of them, one of the trained inseminators within their area, so that they can offer the services. Because we don't have enough staff. Most of our technical staff are retired, and they are retiring. Actually, if the government does not employ enough staff, we are likely to close some of the slaughterhouses. Kwa sababu staff, like now, 7 of them are retiring this year. So we need 7 immediately. Otherwise, hatutakuwa tukikula nyama. So, hiyo ni moja. Hii ingine ni fodder conservation. Fodder conservation, when I came here, niliona that's an opportunity to be promoted. Na nikanunua nyasi 1.5 tons ya kupanda mbegu. Nikagawanyia watu wa Kilifi, wengine ikakaa store mpaka ikaoza. Kule ilipeanwa, wakasema hatuwezi tukang'oa nyasi shambani halafu tupande nyasi. Unaona? Kwa hivyo hiyo ikawa ni challenge, and since then sijawahi kupeleka nyasi ingine. Now that Madam Marietta ameona the need, ni vizuri tuwe na farmers organizations ambazo tutaimizana umuhimu. Lakini mwaka huu naona kila mtu amejua umuhimu wa nyasi, fodder production and conservation, because nimeona lorries zinaleta from Eldoret zinauza hapa Kilifi, na hizo rahisi is about 380 shillings per one bale, na ukipata mtu mwingine akinunua hapo atakuuzia 400 and something. Kwa hivyo ni vizuri hiyo umesema, na wakulima wetu wawe encouraged tupande nyasi, wale wako na mashamba makubwa, hali ya anga ikiwa nzuri, na tuibel, tuweke kwa mabels, alafu tuistore. Itakuja wakati ambayo inahitajika. Actually that is huku kwetu unajua huwa tunaishi short term. Saa hii unakula, saa hii ikiisha Mungu ataleta ingine. Lakini in developed countries, kama like now in America, I'm told the amount of food that's available they can eat for the next 10 years kama hakuna mvua. Lakini huku kwetu miezi michache ikikosa mvua kila mtu analia. Kwa hivyo ni vizuri sote to promote fodder conservation ndio tuweze kupata maziwa all the year round. Kwa sababu hata naambiwa sehemu zingine wamefunga their dairy collection centers kwa sababu hakuna maziwa. Hii nyingine ni maji. This one is tricky. Ulikuwa unasema ni nani atawapatia tank ya kuweka maji? Hiyo ni hiyo ni maombi na ni magumu, lakini siwezi kusema ni magumu. We are many here. Na pia individuals, sisi wenyewe tutoe kuinvest on our own. Lakini tukipata mfadhili atakuwa kuna mahali nimeona hapa ametupeleka mbele, si ndio? Power fluctuation, hiyo ya electricity ya national grid, hiyo iko siwezi comment, lakini wale ambao wana mifugo wanaweza kuanzia mambo ya biogas. Biogas production itaweza kupeana constant supply ya electricity. Sheila Mapenzi, umezungumzia about going to kill. Si itazungumziwa na mtu wa trade, sijui. Siwezi kuzungumzia hiyo vizuri, labda mtu wa trade. Langombaya Exchange and Services. Langombaya kuna staff ambao wamekuwa employed. Sijui ni nani amesemea kuhusu Langombaya? Hakuna staff huko kwenu?
I said the staff are there. But when it comes to now the extension, the skill set required, these crops, they have the skill, but see not through the standard required for commercialization. That is you meant the horticulture of crops. Yes.
So nafikiri hiyo inaweza kuwa tackled na mupeane request kwa the Malindi office iweze mupeane, mjue mnataka nini, training gani. Unaona, usikae na shida, kwa sababu our minister here is a PhD in horticulture.
Yes, I get that, but what I was trying to say is, for us as a company, we train our farmers because ourselves we are experts in that field. But there are some other farmers who come to us, and we don't have those resources to give the service to everyone. So we have our own agronomists. We do the services, but now for the other farmers, it becomes a challenge.
Yako ni gani? Active enterprise gani?
GMG Limited. GMG Limited.
And I deal with what?
Watermelon growing.
Watermelon. Yes. So, wakulima wa kwenu, because that is specific, muende muulize, mupewe such a training. Sio training on horticulture, museme mupatiwe training related to watermelon na whatever. Watapata mtu ambao is a specialist. Tuko na many people ambao wako na masters na other specialized to training in horticulture. Umesikia mzee? Muende muulize ofisi yenu, muulize huko kama hamuna mtu specialist kutoka huko, we can get one from our headquarter here. Sini sawa? Msiwe mnangojea tuwatembelee. Mtuambie mnataka nini. Inaitwa demand driven extension services. Sawa? Pana sikupata jina. Crop insurance. Iya horticulture along the river. Iyo is an issue. Nafikiri tunaweza kuiweka tuulize kama inawezekana, because insurances they don't go for a very high risk enterprise. Si tunaambiwa sisi tunachukua enterprise insurance, life insurance, lakini ikijulikana utakufa karibuni hawataki. If is high risk, wanasema is high risk. Kama they don't take patia insurance hawa watu wa Air Force na Defense Forces, kwa sababu anaweza kuwa exposed very fast to some of the risks. Kwa hivyo they also weigh the risks. Ndio unaona hiyo AP inaitwa APA and the other one hawataki kuchukua hiyo because unaweza kupanda alafu maji ije ibebe, watakuwa high risk. Anyway, I don't know, lakini that is an issue tunaweza kupropose tuone kama kunaweza kuwa in the future, si ndio? Hii education samani tulikuwa career teachers, si ndio? Career teachers. Na hapa sijui kama kuna mtu wa education hayuko. We can propose that one na tuulize actually you propose to higher education Minister of Education ipeane guidance on careers, kwa sababu wakati mwingine unatoka haujui hata what exists. Unaingia field, unaanza kuuliza mwenzako ni nini naweza kufanya. So hiyo career and guidance inaweza kuwa mzuri kama iko hata university, kwa sababu university mimi sijui mambo ya education by the way. Nilisoma kitambo in the 70s and yeah, so upon is an issue to involve other departments kama hiyo ya education so that they can give guidance. Mtu ajue ni activity ni which jobs are available in the market, because we are in a developing world. Technology is developing. On innovation culture of promoting innovations. Nafikiri hiyo sio iko department gani? Kuna hii inaitwaje? Promotion of there's a department which deals with that, investment and the trade. Nafikiri hiyo utaweza kuzungumzia. Nafikiri yangu ni hayo machache yale nimeona. Sijui kama kunaweza kuwa na ingine ambao si ya cover. What happens, we have a regulation ambao ilisemekana you don't cultivate 30 meters from the river. Lakini naona watu wana cultivate mpaka kama 1 meter or 2 meters from the river. Na maji ikija ikiwa na nguvu, kwa sababu hakuna bava kitu ya kuzuia, inaruka kwa shamba na mara moja inaharibu. Kwa hivyo ni sisi wenyewe ndio tuna shida, si kwa sababu hakuna sheria iko.
That is okay, Director, but I also pick from that then it becomes an issue of enforcement. And who is supposed to do that? The enforcement.
We have problem in the enforcement of some regulations. Like tunaona kuko na a lot of illegal constructions. Mtu anakuuzia plot na anaenda ana block ile barabara ambao unatakikana uingie kwako. Kwa hivyo unakuwa landlocked in your own plot na umenunua. Lakini inatakikana every plot ikiuzwa kuwe na access road. Sio ni regulation na iko, kila mtu anajua. Hii ingine it was there and it is there, but enforcement has been na unajua mkulima na wewe ukienda as an officer hauwezi kumwambia wacha kulima mpaka pale. Unaenda jioni, ukirudi asubuhi ameshalima na amepanda. So inatakikana kuwe na ile self supervising, na hiyo ndio ile kitu tunakosa, na ndio ile kitu inatupatia shida, kwa sababu unaambia mtu usijenge. Kama sasa barabara imepanuliwa in towns, alafu unaenda unakuta watu kama askari ya wako wa council, municipal council wao wengine, watu wanasongesha karibu na barabara, unakuta hata wewe ukitembea unapata shida. Hautaki kukanyanga mali ya watu, na you have not gone there to buy, so they should keep some distance. Self-regulating, tuwe na hiyo principle, hiyo culture, the culture of self. Ufanye kukiwa mchana na ufanye vizuri kukiwa usiku. Usingoje kila wakati mtu awe anakuona unatembea wapi. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that your last point has also triggered something in my mind, that probably our people, they are not even aware of what they are supposed to do and what they are not supposed to do, especially when it comes to cultivation along the river banks and the use of that water for irrigation. So I look at two issues there. One is on awareness creation on those regulations that prohibit cultivation 30 meters, less than 30 meters from the riverbank. So need to create more awareness. And this is very easy because we have community structures, even through the barazas, through the ward admins. I don't know if you have the village admins or the village councils as a requirement of the County Government Act. Still not there. But at least you are devolved to the ward level, and that information can even be disseminated through the ngaos, the chiefs and the sub-chiefs, and even from the county or from the ward level or from the sub-county level, some agricultural officers can come and give talks, particularly in those areas that border the riverbanks, so that people are aware. And then now, when they fail to comply, then the issue of enforcement now comes in, so that we also give people that benefit of doubt and tell them even the importance of that river to the generations that are coming. Remember what happened during that time that there was this war in Nairobi, where people are just building even along close to the, even some who are trying to interfere with the waterway, trying to divert and building on those spaces. So one is on that, awareness creation, and then enforcement. Of course, the issue of crops insurance, I look at it as something that the county, both trade and agriculture, can just lobbying, because even these insurance companies, don't you give them business? You do. County government institutions and even national government institutions. And you look at what he's saying, the horticultural sector, you look at your numbers, and of course you have the numbers, and the impact that has to the community within the county, and say, why can't you also offer insurance to these people, even though it is high risk, but if the numbers are good, that concept of insurance, the pooling of risks. Of course, that is also a way of letting them know that there are these emerging value chains that can also, they provide good money, and they also have a lot of impact. But then the risk can be mitigated in some way. So that really, you may not really do something in terms of forcing them to look at it the way you are looking at it, but it's just a way of lobbying. And lobbying also from the point of view that you also give them business, and the business that you give them on behalf of the people. These are the people who give that money, even in terms of the taxes that they pay. So just lobbying and awareness creation, of course, generally agriculture is looked at as a very high-risk sector. And then within agriculture itself, there are value chains that are also looked at as very high risk. So it's just more awareness creation, and it also comes to the issue of even the fishermen who are affected by the high tides. So those are issues that still just need a lot of awareness creation, because the people we are dealing with, even in the banks and financial institutions and insurance companies, they may not view things from the way we are viewing them on this end. You know, those are people who are looking at things on the business perspective. But from this end, there is also an eye, but you also know that there's business this other side.
On the insurance, the insurance don't take insure against, they call them acts of God. Kama floods, hawezi kukubali. Lakini ukipanda vizuri, umepalilia vizuri, umefanya kila kitu vizuri, spraying, kama the crop ina fail, na ulinunua mbegu nzuri, usiende kuokota mbegu alafu upande mpaka uonyeshe ulipanda mbegu gani. And the way you treat, kama kutakuja shida, not because of negligence, ndio watakubali kuinsure. Lakini kama utafanya mambo ambao hayaeleweki, they cannot pay you. Hata hizi za watu wengine wanaona mtu amekuwa insured, alafu somebody somewhere within the household anakupangia njama ndio aweze kupata hiyo pesa. Unajua huwa zinapotea. It is true. Mtu anakupangia uwawe so that anapata hiyo pesa. Wakifanya investigations, wakija kukuta huyu mtu either the wife or husband alipanga jama bibi ya uwawe au bwana uwawe, they don't pay that money. Kwa hivyo they also give conditions. So we have not exhausted or said that it cannot be done, but I will talk to the authorities on whether they can lobby. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for also accepting to carry that message up there, but also for that awareness that you've created amongst the participants here on how to approach the concept of insurance and seeing what is insurable, as well as the kind of risks and how they need to go about it. So at least some little knowledge just to trigger, and then somebody will now go and say, I need to find out more information on this particular issue. Thanks a lot for that. So we give the Director Trade some time to also delve on the issues that were brought up touching on trade, and there are quite a number. Just as that is being sorted out, Director, the issue of water, we know that, it's a big issue, and it requires huge investments, particularly to be able to change the life of a community. Our request then is, among the many issues that you've noted down, you also note it down as a very serious issue, because we know in this county there are certain parts that can be very dry and cannot allow, and it's good you are in livestock, cannot allow livestock production the way the lady spoke about milk, and the fact that it is also impacted by inadequate water. And this then requires huge investments, but what little can be done to ensure that the communities are also able to access water and to go about their livestock production as usual. We know we don't have mtu wa water hapa. Angekuwa hapa tungem put to task. But I know through your directorate, you are able to lobby because it impacts directly on you.
This is a national issue, because a big irrigation scheme can only be supported by the national government. In countries like Israel, I'm told, I've not been there, they don't import fodder. They don't import pasture. But the amount of water that they get, they use it well. And here in Kilifi, like tunaita Langombaya area, kama tungepanya a big irrigation, au tulete a canal au pipe specifically for irrigating pasture. Tuko na land kubwa, we can irrigate, we can plant a lot of pasture and bale it. Lakini it can only be done by the government. Where we can, kama hii yetu ya agriculture, ni governor aseme anataka mradi fulani ufanywe, na watu wa agriculture tuko nao hapa. They will do the laying of the canal, the design and everything, na itafaulu. But it will require a lot of commitment by the government of the time.
There is something I want to share with you on the riverbank protection, as he asked. On the issue of the policy implementation, we have had a very good experience before. We used to work on soil and water conservation issues, particularly along river banks or where we had some catchments with similar drainage. So during that time, the enforcement was done by special committees which were formed as per catchment, and also we used to involve the administration or the office of the president. And by such doing, they used to make our work easier. So I have a feeling that when it comes to policy issues, the enforcement part of it, then we have to involve the office of the president together with forming relevant committees within such areas which will be overseeing the enforcement of the policies. On the issues of education, Redman, before we used to go to primary schools, they had things known as 4K clubs. And as extension agent, we used to train them on specific issues of their need. If it is rabbit keeping, whichever crops they needed to do, we used to train them, and later on we even had follow-ups at their, because they did it at individual levels at their home. So I think if such a thing can be adopted, can be of help. For the primary schools, we had the 4K clubs. For the secondary schools, we used to have young farmers, and we used to visit them. It is only that now such things do not exist because we have a shortage of staff, and it is like also the head teachers do not embrace it. But the opportunity comes, I think something can be done. On the issue of the technical gap, my friend, I want to believe that when it comes to agriculture training, we graduate as cultural extension officers, but down there at the college, we do different courses. For example, there is a course known as agriculture, home economics, and human ecology. When you come to the county government and you're employed, you are said you are an agricultural extension officer. But during the coverage of the course, you never did some of the units. So, because of such things, there could be that gap which my friend saw on the watermelon. But what I know is within those wards, there are around 4 to 3 people. So in case one of them lacks that specific knowledge for that specific crop, I think it is prudent that you go ahead and seek whoever is there at that ward level. And in case you don't have somebody who is competent in that ward, then you can even move to the next ward. Before even you go to the sub-county level, I'm sure you are going to have that problem solved.
Okay, I was responding to the training in schools. The national government is coming again with the 4K Club program, and for now it's a very huge program. In fact, Wadisema, they're rebranding the 4K Club and the young farmers. So that's a program. In fact, last month they came and they meet with stakeholders in Kilifi, and it will involve everybody, because a representative from the Department of Agriculture was there, somebody from education was there. So we are hoping for the good in our county, and when it comes, kindly let us embrace it, because it's going to change the attitude for our young people, especially when it comes to agriculture. Then when we are talking about the youth, I don't know, because I've seen Kenya Climate Innovation, you have provision of enabling environment. We have this strategy at the national level on youth in agriculture, in agribusiness strategy. I don't know if you can help us as a county to domesticate that, because if we have that strategy, then it's going to guide us when it comes to implementation and how we can meaningfully involve our youth when it comes to agribusiness.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I believe Ernest will speak both to the issue on 4K clubs and what KCIC is doing in schools, as well as the request on domestication of the youth in agribusiness strategy.
On both of them, what I would say is that KCIC is also working with the Ministry of Education to support the rebranding of 4K clubs and also young farmers in schools. So I'm sure in the next coming week you'll see a request from us, because we are now in the process of identifying which schools we can work with from each of the counties. And that program, we should be able to roll it out in the next 1 year. And I think there was somebody also had mentioned something around innovation and whether an innovation hub could be in Kilifi. And that's one of the reasons we set up the hub in the ATC. It will not only support the agriculture as usual, the way we are doing it in agribusiness, but as I mentioned during my earlier presentation, we also have another program called GreenBiz, and that particular program focuses on innovations. So it does not just look to the plain vanilla agriculture. So we'll see how you can work around that. And the request about domesticating some of the national policies, yes, that is also one of the things that will be coming back to the county in the new year. And since Director is here, I think he can pass that message to the CEC, and you can start working on a committee that we can work with to see which of those policies can be domesticated, because currently now we are working with at least 3 other counties, and we are almost at the tail end of finalizing that particular program. We've received one more, now there are 2 with US to support those 2 other counties, and that's something we'll be looking into in the new year.
Thank you very much, Ernest, for the responses. I'll ask Director to pick the concerns arising from his department.
Thank you, Vincent. I'll try and respond to as many points as possible. but also I'll try and compress some of the issues that were discussed by the two gentlemen based on innovation. But to start off with, Sheila Mapenzi, right? You are talking about manufacturing. If I may ask, what is it that you manufacture? Porridge flour. Okay. Next question, for clarity purposes. What service exactly were you looking for from Kirdi?
Personally, I was looking for services on training on how to, I was looking into services for training on how to do production. The production, like, you know, there is, you produce, there's the local production, and after producing, there's some vitamins, some minerals that need fortification. Yeah, the training on fortification.
Great. Now, and you are saying that they have an office here?
In Malindi, there's Kirdi, but they deal with mangoes.
They deal with?
Mangoes.
Mangoes.
Yes.
What response were you given when you visited the office?
I was told to go to Nairobi.
To Nairobi?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And they gave you the reasons as to why?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why I'm asking all these questions is because of clarity, right? As an institution, you have your policies, you have your processes, right? Now, if, for example, that particular service that she wants maybe comes like once in a year, maybe Kirdi felt that we don't need to have a department dealing with this. I'm using the word maybe. I might be wrong, right? I might be wrong, right? So when you go for basically such kind of services, I call them like consultative services, where you are looking for information. It's good also to find out why exactly they might not have that particular service in your region. Now, how do we come in to help as the trade department? Like my brother said, we can lobby for a policy and say, now, you guys, we have this number of manufacturers who require this kind of service to be brought here. You see, we can lobby for that, right? So maybe it will be upon us, the trade department, to find out how many people are like Sheila who require that service. Then it will be easy. We can go and tell them now. In Kilifi County, we have 1,000 people who manufacture porridge and everything else. But one of the challenges that they are facing is 1, 2, and 3. Could you please have, even if maybe it's not a permanent staff, maybe someone who will be coming down once in a while to train our people? So I think that is one of the ways that we can assist them. There was a lot about crops and agriculture. My colleague has taken care of that. Innovation. Now, this was based on what Emmanuel had talked about. Where is Emmanuel? His work. What's that young man's name? The one who made the bucket. That is? Huh? What's your name? Victor. There was Victor and Emmanuel. Emmanuel has worked out. So Emmanuel was talking about using the KCIC hub for innovation, tapping into the youth, again, innovation, training the youth groups to tap into opportunities. These are new opportunities. Again, innovation. Then Victor talked about the kind of innovation that he has done. And of course, if Mbegu Fund can organize something. Now, what I want to tell you is that the government, or let me talk about the county government in particular, we are more involved in policy making and implementation, right? More of policy making and implementation. But On the same note, right, we are allowed to look for partners, right? Now, when we look for these partners, when they come through us, there is that credibility, right? There is already that credibility. Now, why I'm saying this is, for all these innovations that the young people of Kilifi have that don't go out there, we can do it in two ways. Number one, get the partners, right? Like KCIC here, these are our partners. We'll tell them, okay, now we have our youth group that has innovated this. How can you help support this? Number two, I've thought about it because I've dealt with a lot of young people, and I assisted to put up an innovation hub in Nairobi. Now, one of the ways that I actually thought about today was, for example, his innovation, no one knows about it. But under the trade department, what we can do is maybe have a brief clip on what he has done, then put it on the Kilifi County website and ask, right, for people who can sponsor that innovation. That is another way that we can go about it, right? So, I'm one believer of not having one solution to fit all the problems, but having specific solutions for specific problems. So what I'll say is that now that this process has started, now that we know each other, feel free. These people should feel free. Feel free if there's an issue that you need help. For example, like yours, it's a good idea, by the way. Just come to us, to the department, and tell us, okay, this is the idea that I have. How can we take it out there? And then we will help you, all right? Because I know in the past, I'm sorry to say, not in a bad way, but there was a lot of laxity because of maybe the age. Unajua wakati mwingine ulikuwa ukienda kwa ofisi hizi za serikali, unapata ni watu wazee, you try to explain something, they're like, can this thing really work? But trust you me, there are a lot of energetic officers right now who will run with such kind of ideas. So you're welcome. Everyone here is welcome. Just come up with the idea. If the trade department is going to assist you, come to the trade department, right? If you feel you need advice from the cooperative department, our team is here, and the Mbegu Fund is here. Of course, we should not forget the veterinary department. I've tried my best to compress these ideas, unless maybe there's one particular area that needs more clarity.
I think it's fine. You have responded. Thank you. And just to again put a very special emphasis on the issue of Kirdi. Kirdi, we also invited them. Unfortunately, they didn't make it. But we also felt that those are some of the very important stakeholders to have in such a forum, because really you find issues that are touching on them, and they would actually, just the way you've explained it so well, in terms of the need, looking at that particular need within the population in this area. But I think it is something you can take up and look at it in terms of the numbers that you have within the county, the number of businesses who are now coming up with the production of unga, that porridge. You are doing a survey on that? That will be very important because, Ernest, we have had a client in Migori County in Rongo, but she was being supported from Kisii, Kirdi, and she was able to get every service needed. Of course, the dynamics are not the same regionally, but we borrow lessons from each other. Yeah. All right. So do we take another set? Probably the final.
Okay, I'm Dixon Magongo. I'm an agribusiness client. Niko na maswali matatu. Swali ya kwanza, tumeonyeshwa zile statistics pale ya recruitment na kuchukuliwa hawa vijana. For the first applications, 3,000 and something wali apply, but only 100 wakachukuliwa. Then for the second, my wish ni kwamba you increase the number, because there are so many youths wako na ideas, but actually so many wana apply, then we just consider a few. So hiyo ilikuwa inaenda kwa agribusiness, or I mean the KCIC. Another question concerns the sole proprietor businesses. Actually, during lunch, I met with some of the officials from trade, na tukaongea briefly. But for the purpose of others, I am running a sole proprietor project, and kuna wengine pia. How can we also benefit from these funds from trade and maybe some other institutions, considering that most of the youths, they are not employed, and to access funds is not very easy. You want to empower other youths, you want to boost the economy, create more jobs for others, but now if it comes to financial or whatever accessing to funds, it's a challenge. So maybe the Department of Trade can actually do something so that they can also consider these individual business operators, sole proprietors, and others.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. I think the last issue went to the Department of Trade, and the other one to us. What I can comment on the issue of applications is that the evaluation process has criteria and goes through several stages. Of course, it is highly competitive, but then sometimes you find applications which are out of the scope within what the program, how the program was designed in terms of even some basic elements like, like at the very basic level, it has to be an agribusiness, number one. It has to be youth or women-owned. So for the women, there is no age. For the youth, for the men, it is capped at the youth level within what is constitutionally provided, the constitutionally provided meaning of a youth. And so if you see that data from the first stage of evaluation to the last stage, you may realize that some fall through, some fall out on the basis of the basic requirement, you know. There are some people also who may apply, but it's something that looks like agribusiness, but, you know, generally it is out of that scope. So those are some of the dynamics that fall in when it comes to the numbers, but we also do appreciate that there is a high number of women and youth who may be left out, probably because of what as a program we are able to support at a given time, you know. Like if you go to the hub, we have the hub manager and her team there, and each business is attached to someone to support them. So these people are like teachers, you know, they have a load. But sometimes what the hub can support, and that is why we have the conversations here to also showcase to you and to the government that, well, we have so many of these similar opportunities which are working, or we have a lot of interest among women and youth in agribusiness. And so the question to us, and which also pains the organization, is what happens to the people who would have otherwise qualified? If you qualify, probably there is another person who could have qualified the same as you, probably another 2 or 3 people. Then the question is, where do they end up? And of course, it is something that pains us, but at times because of resources and what can be practically supported within the hub. That is why we have conversations with government in this particular way, and we find opportunities like what Director for Gender and Youth talked about, that they also offer such kind of trainings, which are also very good opportunities. And so the question again would be, how about other services? For example, after being taken through that training, and probably you have a funding gap, is Mbegu Fund able to hold your hand and provide you with the needed finance? So that is where we are driving the conversation, so that in future we also want to see such kind of initiatives being government-led. Yeah? And that is why I was expressing my delight at the Mbegu opportunity. Because as long as that law exists, the fund will still be there. And that is the direction that the government should be able to take with us, and find a way that even if we get support from development partners, but it is only to support. But at the basic level, the government is deeply entrenched in it.
So there is something I think we are also lagging behind. We are failing to utilize one business model that occupies numbers, which is the cooperative movement. Most of, I think, your applications are from groups. So it's very hard, for example, and we are experiencing the same thing also with the Mbegu Fund. You are going to get 10 groups from one ward, close to each other, doing the same kind of business, poultry farming. And they want the same kind of funding. Most probably, only 2 will pass through. The other 8 will have to wait for another time. What if these 10 groups had formed a cooperative which could have accommodated all the members and asked for a bigger amount? So I think it's also high time for us to try and utilize the cooperative movement, because it's one of the only things that accommodates a lot of people. Because you may figure out the people who are applying for the agribiz, they are coming from same areas, they are doing the same things. So you get 10 groups planting tomatoes coming from the same belt line of the River Sabaki. Definitely not all of them will be able to sail through, even if they are qualified. So what if they form a cooperative society, a farmers cooperative society that will accommodate maybe 50 plus members? They ask for something like even 2 million. it's going to be so helpful for them than for them to go at it in the group level. So I think it's high time, as we go back to where we are from, we start viewing the next person next to my farm as a person who will help me go up than a competitor. Because with this, we'll also be able to get markets for the best part of the day and at very good prices. So I think it's up to us. You can get in touch with any cooperative officer near you. For those who are maybe sole proprietors, I'm sure there are sole proprietors in the area doing the same thing. Because I come from Magarini. From what we're experiencing there, you can have almost 100 farmers doing the same kind of farming. And they will form a group of maybe 10 people each and ask for funds. And the government, either Mbegu Fund or you guys, you won't be able to sort all of them out. But it's very easy for them to form a bigger group, and it can be quick for even the monitoring level, even for the extension services. It's easier for an extension officer to come visit a group of 100 farmers who are from one area than to come visit one farmer. It is going to make the work a little bit easier.
That is a very powerful point. I guess we all agree, because then there is power in numbers. And also, some of the challenges that we are talking about here, really, it becomes very difficult to address them at individual level. But when you have the numbers, then you are able to even look at the fact that, we have the numbers in this particular area. We were talking about horticulture. We were talking about, even on issues of water, the government will see the need if within that particular area there is, one big force that is driving something, and then they will look at the impact that will create. So I totally agree with my brother on that, and that is something that we encourage, because even as a program, we also support, apart from the groups, the CBOs, we also support cooperatives. Yeah, and that is something we encourage. From Mbegu Fund, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, we have the policy in place, basically the procedure for doing so. It is something that has been lacking from our inception, 2018, but right now the procedure for doing so is in place. What is basically just about to be done is rolling it out, the sole proprietor loan product. But even in rolling it out, we are not going to go full blast, because it's equally a risky area too. Maybe we'll start rolling out some aspects, some kind of ventures within sole proprietorship that we'll start with. And then as we proceed and learn the lessons from them, we'll now be able maybe to go to another higher scale for doing so. So maybe very soon in the course of, initially we thought we could do it within this calendar year, but it's now this financial year. Our financial year ends in June next year, so we believe most probably we'll be able to roll it out before the end of this financial year, but we'll still start in phases, not full blast.
Thank you. Now we actually come almost to a close. Director, there was some comment that came to you from my brother there. He's in the program. Were you able to get it? Oh. Okay. Okay. That's okay. Yes.
On agronomies. This is just a question to the Department of Agriculture. Do we have maybe what we call an agronomist services in Kilifi County, like a soil testing lab or crop protection? Because we have to do our soil testing in some other areas. That is one. The second one is about I'll talk according to the guy who just talked about education. If we can encourage our girls also to be taking courses in agriculture, it will be very nice, because some of the time we have been having an open vacant position on irrigation agriculture officer, but we only get applications from male, the male gender. So I don't know if we have some people who are also qualified in that. I think we can have a talk.
In Kilifi, I'm not sure whether the university, Pwani University, have a self-testing lab. Anybody who has been there?
It doesn't. It does not have, but NARIF, the project of NARIF, do soil testing for the farmers. So if the sample is taken there and go to NARIF, in Chidiatumu, there's a gadget which does the soil testing.
But he has gone to agriculture and not to water. I don't know.
He's there temporarily. He's coordinating both areas. The engineering part in the NARIF program, and also he's there as the director. So he works there and also coordinates some activities which are engineering based in the NARIF.
Maybe for the short term, unaweza kulete kwa NARIC, but you must be in NARIC supported groups. Is it anybody or NARIC supported groups?
I think it's not necessarily NARIC supported group, but if this farmer has the need, down there we have our extension agents at the ward levels. So if that extension agent picks the soil or takes the samples and brings them there, the analysis will be done and the results will be later taken by stationists back to the farmer.
So
also Kardom Twapa does a similar service.
So you are told we have somebody in agriculture who does soil testing in Kilifi, but he has also been deployed as a director in water. So he may be too busy, but let us give it a trial. Utalete kwa director of agriculture, alafu tumwambie kuna that officer ambao who can do it. I'm told Karo Mtwapa does, but I don't know whether they have enough staff to do the job. But in short, in Kilifi, we don't have a soil testing laboratory ambao unaweza kwenda ukalipa, because the other time we were discussing about how we can test the soils of ATC Mtwapa, and I was told as one sample cost about 1,500 shillings, and you have to have several samples taken from different parts of the shamba, so that they can give you the right soil. Is it a soil what? Chemist. Yeah. They tell you this is what you need, this is what you require for your land. So I think we'll for short term, tunaweza kupeleka huko kwa NARIC, but long term tutauliza kama inaweza kuletwa somewhere either in Mombasa, somewhere central, kwa sababu hatuwezi kuleta cells testing, a person to do soil testing and he does only one sample in a year.
Mine is not necessarily a question, but just a comment or an observation. I'm from the Kwale County government. So far, when we were highlighting the number of clients that KCIC has along Kilifi, I've seen quite a number, 78. Of course, this is doing good here. Going back to Kwale, I've only seen 5 clients. I just want to inquire why the disparity there.
As Damaris, She's not here. Okay, she could have highlighted that because she has the numbers in terms of the current cohort, the current group that is being supported from Kilifi Hub, which is based at Mtwapa. But then she must have mentioned that the hub supports the 6 counties at the coast. So I wouldn't really comment on that figure unless I get it in terms of whether it is within the current cohort, because we have the cohort for year 1, and then we have the cohort for year 2, which was admitted in March or April, thereabout. And then we have another call for application currently running. So I would actually take it on the sides so that when she comes, then I can confirm the figures, whether it's the current cohort or the previous one. Yeah.
What is happening? We had this request for call for application, which was ending on 2nd of November. Now they have extended to 12th. So if there are people who are qualified, you can inform them to apply tomorrow and Friday. Yeah? Instead of complaining they have not been accepted, let them apply. Then you make a follow-up.
So as we close, just to make a few remarks before we give it back to Ernest and Director to make their final remarks, is that we thank you for being here for the day and for the ideas that we've shared. These definitely are going to help us to know what needs to be done in terms of targeted support, even from the government, to be able to provide an enabling environment for agribusinesses within the county, and more so with the bias on women and youth agribusinesses. Some of the underlying challenges can be sorted out in partnership with government and in just very good collaboration and having conversations like what we've had. For the people who have taken contacts, kindly follow through on the issues that you have so that you get them sorted. When we have such a forum again next year, let us come back saying, we talked about this and that. I got this connection with the Director Trade, this connection with Mbegu Fund, or this connection with Director Livestock, and that is how the solution came. Yeah? So that any other outstanding issue, like the request in terms of policy support, will also be looked at. But this then forms a very good base for us here in Kilifi. And for the directors and the real experts, within the county, I know we are still here. We'll still meet when the year begins, and we'll still meet when the year ends next year, God willing. So let us just keep up the good work. Let us support these enterprises, knowing that there are so many and they are trying, and sometimes they struggle, but then they are the real contributors even to the GDP of the county. So, as we conclude, I will invite Ernest, but just to mention that ensure you signed the attendance kindly. Then there is another one that you will sign as we move out. So I'm concluding it here. I take it back to Ernest, probably to invite the director to make his closing remarks and to also make his remarks as we close. Be blessed and have a good evening. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Vincent, and also thank you, everyone, for taking time and being with us. So mine is just to thank all of you. We've had a lot of discussion, a lot of engagements. So we'll go back, look at some of those issues, see the ones we can pick up to improve on our programs, the ones we need to share with the county. We'll also share, and we'll continue having similar discussion as we progress in the implementation of this particular program. For KCIC and Agribiz, for us, we are here just as facilitators. Actually, this is your program, so if you don't take advantage of it, then at least you may miss an opportunity. And I think somebody mentioned about the large numbers of application. Yes, we've received actually large numbers of application for this particular program, and also based on the resources that we have, we can only support a particular number. So we are not also able to pick everyone who has applied, but you also need to look out for other opportunities. Because other than KCIC, I know there are other partners who are also running almost similar program, whether it is FAO, Youth Fund. You look out for those opportunities, and maybe having gone through one may move you to a level where when you apply for Agribiz, or when you go through Agribiz and another program comes up, that elevates you to then qualify for that particular program. But even for those who didn't qualify, maybe your idea or enterprise at that time, you are just maybe starting and it didn't qualify. It doesn't mean that you killed the idea because Agribiz didn't pick up your program, but try and build it to another level, because every year we are doing these calls for application and you can still apply. It doesn't mean that if you applied last year, you cannot apply this year. You can still apply, and maybe if you've improved on your business idea, you could actually again qualify for this particular program. So I want to just thank the county government of Kilifi for also hosting us here today, sitting with us, listening to some of the ideas that have come from the participant. And we want just to ask you, Bwana Director, to pass our regard to the CEC and also the governor. We are here representing also our organization, and our CEO passed his regards. So make sure our regards also reaches the highest level office in the county. So for everyone, thank you, and I want to wish you all the best. And as Vincent mentioned, kindly make sure you sign. He will be able to facilitate you with something for transport. So make sure you've signed the attendance list. So thank you, and I invite Bwana Director to give some closing remarks.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ernest, for giving me this opportunity. Let me thank all of you for being very patient. You have participated fully to the best of your knowledge, and you have put forward some valuable inputs, which, when we put into consideration, they will improve the performance of our enterprises. We have meant several comments on different areas. And those of you who are here is part of the information which you can take to the people in your sub-counties. For the other organizations, we want you also to pass the same message to your organizations so that where they can support. Instead of all of us sending our request to KCIC, we can also request other supporting organizations so that we can move a little bit faster. We want to tell you that our staff in the field, they are there, but they are limited. As I started, I told you, in the Department Directorate of Livestock, I have 7 wards without livestock staff. So they have to be served from other wards or at the sub-count headquarters. So if somebody has a problem or an issue he or she requires solution, please go and demand the services from the relevant officer. We used to have a program which was called NALEP, and the policy was you demand the service. And we were, even today, it is easier to reach a group than to reach an individual. So please organize yourselves into groups and request for somebody to come and train you or assist you. It is easier. You can reach 100 people in one day if you are an individual. But if you have to visit an individual, it will take you how many months? 3 or 4 months on just one issue. So the more people come together, the better, and it will be efficient use of the resources, human resources. Where the specialization is required, please do request. Let me also thank the organizers. Bringing these people from where they come from is not easy, but you have managed. Let this be the beginning, but not the end. Otherwise, pass our rigors when you go where you came from, the board of board of management. I saw they are very good men and women, and tell them we appreciate, and if they have more resources, let them channel to Kilifi. We'll accept them. Thank you very much.